totally booked
Totally booked
right
right now.
now. Hello, all. We're excited.
Very
Tonight,
excited.
we're covering People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry.
Mhm.
Did you watch the movie?
I have not watched the movie yet. No, I have not.
Okay.
That's on the docket of maybe to do this weekend, or something.
Yeah. Well, a little lore. Yeah, I watched the
Mhm.
Netflix movie. I really liked it. And
Mhm.
so when it was over at midnight, I downloaded this book and started reading it.
And you texted me
I
when you did too.
I know. I was like, she's asleep, but I got to tell her. I also am a big fan of watching the movie before reading the book.
Mhm. So that there's
That's
no
important to me.
Yeah, because if they change too many
Yeah.
things or change your favorite part, that's kind of it's the
Mhm.
worst. It makes you not
Yeah,
wanna ever watch.
and it does. Yeah, right, exactly, and it doesn't bother me when I do it movie first then book,
Mhm.
but it will
Mhm.
bother me if I do book then movie. So I will be pointing out things that are different.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
you want me to do
Good.
that, or do you want me to not
Yeah.
say anything? Okay,
No, you
sweet.
should. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, well, we're gonna get started. We start with the prologue, but it's a good prologue. It's not confusing. So, and every chapter has like a time on it, but it's not a
Yes.
crazy time. So, the prologue takes place 5 summers ago. Imagine a voiceover. On vacation, you can be anyone you want. You can do whatever you want, but sometimes the weather dictates your vacation. Like now, it's pouring, so you're in a dive bar, and now we're back to normal. Poppy comes out the bathroom at bar. That's the name of this bar they're at, and sees a man sitting at the bar of bar, slouched and reading on his phone, which honestly, like, same. If I'm by myself,
Yeah.
I'm probably um, she approaches and starts to hit on him. They go back and forth, and then she breaks character when he doesn't give her the answers she wants. They're friends and are on vacation together. The guy is named Alex, and he's moping due to a recent breakup and also about being in this gross bar. Poppy and Alex vacation together every summer and are best friends. Alex is very serious, stoic, reserved, buttoned up, and Poppy is exuberant, fun-loving, dare we say manic? A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Although, there are occasions on vacations where, quote, "weirdo Alex" comes out. She calls him naked Alex later, but
Yes. Yeah.
Alex right now. And he, like, lets loose, and it's his, uninhibited self. Alex is the oldest son of a widower and had a super religious upbringing, so, like, that explains it. He's
Mhm.
super Poppy is a travel blogger and works for a New York City company that sends her on trips so she can cover the locations. So they leave the bar but maybe she was still, like, just a blogger right now. I think she was. Actually, I might have said that wrong, but
Ooh, yeah.
I can't remember. Anyway, she had a blog. Anyway, they needed to, like, capture pictures of the
Yes.
vacation, so they leave the bar, and Alex suggests they take a selfie in the car to commemorate their trip, even though Alex hates taking pictures, and then they talk about where they'll go next summer. But he's like, "Do you need me to take pictures for your followers?" She's like, "Nobody cares about us being at the beach when it's raining. They don't wanna know about bar. I'm supposed to be giving them good experiences." So, yeah,
I'm
right
supposed to be
off the
showing them, like, the cool places to go. Not
Yeah.
and what is there to show off when it's been raining, like, the whole
Mhm.
time? Yeah,
Yeah,
there's nothing
yeah.
to see. Yeah.
So right off the bat, this was, like, so cute and funny. Poppy's really funny.
And their dynamic is really funny together. Like,
It
they are the ultimate best friends. They totally get each other and each other's sense of humor. They were really fun together.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
them. Yeah.
Um, they're just the best of friends. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, this is chapter 1 where this summer and Poppy has been feeling uninspired at work. She used to manically research places she wanted to go, but now she can't muster the energy. Her friend Rachel thinks Poppy should go to Santorini, which was pitched at work. I mean, same, Rachel, who doesn't want to go to Santorini. Rachel and Poppy are uh, both influencers, and Poppy talks about how it's, like, kinda nice to have an influencer friend because she doesn't have to explain why she's, like, taking a picture of her food or whatever, staging things.
Mhm.
But Rachel thinks Poppy's disillusioned because Poppy got everything she was trying for, and it's, like, the journey, not the destination. So I do think this is a real thing, like, where you've been trying for something your entire life, you have this giant goal, and then you get it, and you're like, "Well, what am I supposed to do now?" So Poppy admits she's not happy and realizes the last time she was happy was 2 years ago in Croatia with Alex Nilsson, but she's screwed because they haven't spoken since. Immediately, like, Tell me what happened in Croatia right now.
I know, because you guys
I
were
need to
so
know.
cute and besties, like, 2 minutes ago in the prologue. What
Yeah.
happened? What happened? Tell me.
Yes. Okay. So we're still in this summer. Poppy longs for the trips she and Alex used to take. She reflects on their stalemate. We don't know what happened. She thought after time Alex would get over what happened between them and things would go back to normal. But as the days and months stretched, that divide got too large and she felt like she couldn't reach out. Poppy used to keep a blog about traveling on a shoestring budget, so she rereads her blog post from the Croatia trip and thinks it's obvious how miserable she was after she got home. Poppy scrolls back through and looks for every post about the summer trip, which is the trip her and Alex take every summer. They text about it all year long. So she types out a few texts to Alex before deleting them and then accidentally sends him, "Hey." If ever there was a time to talk about your stomach falling out of your butt, this would be it. That feeling.
The unintentional, like, "Whoops, I did not mean to hit send on
Mhm.
that message
My
at
God.
all. Whoopsie, whoopsie,
Yes.
whoopsie." Yeah.
Surprisingly, though, he texts back right away and they have kind of a normal feeling conversation. And Poppy's so happy that they're talking. And then she finds out that Alex's cat that he really loved and was obsessed with died. And this is the first time she's hearing about it. And that ends the conversation. Poppy's left feeling empty. So this was, I mean, they do talk about his cat in the prologue. Its name was is Flannery
Flannery.
O'Connor, which is
Yeah.
really funny.
So funny.
um, in the movie, they don't talk about his cat at all. It's his grandma that died, which also happens in the book. Spoiler alert. But I was also like, I mean, I guess I get that. Like, there's more
Yeah.
of an emotional punch if it's your grandma and like not a cat. All right, so now we jump to 12 summers ago. Alex and Poppy meet on the first night of orientation at the University of Chicago. This is another difference from the book. I think they go to like Boston or something. Why? Why do you change that? Scenery doesn't matter at
Silly.
all. You know,
Yeah.
whatever. Poppy approaches Alex and tries to make a joke that bombs. He's like already wearing a University of Chicago shirt, and she's like, "Do you go
Do you
here?"
go
or something like. Um, and he's just like, "That's not funny." Alex is from West Linfield, Ohio, and Poppy is from East Linfield, Ohio. What are the chances? But they're total opposites and never expect to speak again. So then we go back to this summer. We're in the present. Rachel and Poppy are at a spin class, and Rachel asks Poppy if she's thought about what makes her happy. Poppy admits that Alex makes her happy. Their summer trips, nothing has ever topped those. Poppy thinks to herself, like literally nothing. She thinks no matter what, even if she gets married or has a baby, she thinks the best day of her life will still be a toss up between that and when she and Alex went hiking in the redwood forest. I was like, whoa. That's, I feel like that's your
That's kinda
answer right
crazy.
there.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh, what is there to be confused about if that's your toss-up for the best day of
I
your
know,
life?
seriously. I was
Yeah.
like, that is intense. So
Mm.
on Sunday night, Poppy's in bed trying to make a list of possible locations to visit for work. And she's only been able to come up with 3, and they're just countries. They're not even actual locations. She's just having trouble. Then Alex texts her out of the blue, and it's a picture of her senior year yearbook photo. And so Alex is a teacher at Poppy's old high school. And so he found it in the library. So they talk for a little bit, and she's happy that he obviously was thinking about her and like looked up her picture. And Poppy thought that she'd been doing fine and that she'd gotten over her and Alex's friendship breakup. But the more they talk, the more Poppy misses him. And she initiates conversation about them taking another trip together. Um, anything to add?
Oh, I don't know. It was just so they're so cute together, and Poppy is
Yeah.
super quick-witted and funny. And so she's like,
Mhm.
I think in this particular part too, she's kind of like joking about him like Xing out pictures of her high school bullies in that
Oh,
yearbook,
yeah.
and just like, she's pretty quick-witted and funny. And Alex has a really dry sense of humor. So they're back and forth, even while texting, and they're not even really like super close right now, was still really cute and funny. It was very
Yes.
entertaining, their interactions. Yeah.
Yeah. Poppy's so funny. I think my favorite line from her so far in the book was when she goes, "I am arguably gorgeous from certain angles." And I was like, yes, that's a
Yes.
joke I would make.
Mhm. 100%.
Um, okay. So now we are 11 summers ago, and Poppy has occasionally seen Alex around campus, but they haven't spoken again until the day after freshman year ends. Poppy's freshman roommate, that she barely knows or talks to has mentioned that her friend wants to carpool back to Southern Ohio with someone, and that friend happens to be Alex. They have some pretty funny conversations on the drive. That whole this whole thing is just like it's really funny and cute.
Mhm. Yes.
Um, Alex is really uptight and he doesn't want to listen to music while they're in traffic. He needs to concentrate. Um, which I get, but it's like standstill traffic. Like it's really
Right.
not like so.
Like, I'm imagining them being at a total stop, and he's got his hands at 10 and 2, like, he's not gonna move, and he is, like,
Right.
eyes on the road. He's like, "Stop talking to me.
Yeah.
I'm stressed about this traffic. Like, leave me alone." And she's just, like, playing 20 questions.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They do a good job of this in the movie. It's pretty funny. So in the car, they start talking about all the things they like versus the things they don't like. Poppy likes most things, and Alex hates most things. So yeah, this is entertaining. Like he hates, the saxophone in a song. He hates covers of songs. He hates like all this stuff. But the one thing that Poppy hates, which is running, Alex loves. So that's another funny thing. Poppy thinks to herself how it's nice that she can just be herself completely because she doesn't care about impressing him. It's a quote, we are two fundamentally incompatible people with absolutely no need to impress each other. And while they have nothing in common, Poppy is starting to enjoy herself. And she feels like for the first time all year. Also, this is why we love enemies to lovers dynamic, even though they're enemies to lovers in like 2 seconds, or enemies to friends, I guess.
Mhm.
But you can be your whole self and you don't care what that person thinks of you. But Poppy's been on her best behavior, like she was auditioning for new friendships like all year. That's how she felt. But strangely, she feels none of that here with Alex. Alex tells Poppy he likes karaoke, which she's never been to, and he's surprised to hear that. So they make plans to go to karaoke together. It's near the end of the drive. They talk about traveling. And Poppy's asking if Alex loves or hates traveling, and he thinks that he will love it. And Poppy agrees, even though they've both never really been anywhere. This is different in the so they have like an uneventful drive kind of. In the
Mhm.
movie, they get into some hijinks. Like she ends up locking the keys in the car and he wants to get home really bad so he can see his girlfriend, which I don't think he's dating anyone right now. And so they end
Mm-mm.
up having to like stay in a motel together for the night and he sleeps on the floor and she's on the bed and and then they figure out they like traveling cuz anyway, that's another difference. I'm like, I guess I can get it why they did that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we're back to this summer. The next morning, we're in the present. Poppy goes to her boss's office and pitches going to Palm Springs, California for her article. She has outside motivation, and that is that Alex's youngest brother, David, is getting married there, and that's Alex's only free week. So she wants to combine the wedding with a couple more days of a trip for them. Her boss wants her to go to Santorini instead. Poppy declines. Like she's like, if that's the only option I have, I'm going to not take a work trip at all. And Poppy says she actually needs a vacation. And so she's going to go to Palm Springs on her own dime, I guess, and figure out how to budget for it and stuff. And she doesn't tell Alex this. Also, I would just like to say Palm Springs, California is where we met.
It is. It is where we met. We live in the same city, but that's where we met.
Yeah.
Originally. I know.
Yeah.
There's some parts coming up where I was like, Kirsten, I am missing Palm Springs so bad right now. Oh my God.
I
Yeah.
have so much to say since like
Me
I've
too.
been there before.
Mhm.
Okay, this is another difference. The wedding takes place in Barcelona in the movie. Barcelona. Which
Barcelona.
I understand that's like more exotic, but it's also like that again, the location like doesn't matter. And the same thing in Barcelona as Palm Springs is like it's really hot there and I'm like, but Palm Springs is a desert. I can almost say with 1000% certainty that Palm Springs is hotter than Barcelona. Barcelona, no matter
but-
what.
Yeah, we were there in October and it was 115 degrees every
like
day.
If you weren't in the pool, you would actively die. Like there's no way that you would survive. Like
I think
we couldn't
I
be
almost
outside.
I think we almost got heat stroke in the pool.
Yeah,
like
like
in the shade
crazy.
in the pool just
Mhm,
because of the
mhm.
heat reflecting off of the water onto my face.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
it was crazy. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, so I would argue that Palm Springs should have still been the location in the movie.
Yeah.
Barcelona. I just want to say Barcelona a lot. Okay, now this summer, Poppy lands in LAX, and I was like, why don't you just fly into Palm Springs? We flew into I flew into Palm Springs.
Yeah, it was no
Fly
problem.
directly in there.
Yeah, it was
But
great.
they fly to LAX and she's texting Alex's brother, David, about how excited she is to be at his wedding. She thinks back on a conversation she had with Alex about how it's crazy that David's getting married. He seems so young. He's 24. That is young.
Hey, don't judge.
Oh, is that when you got married?
I was 23. Yes.
23?
Yeah.
Uh, looking back, at the time, it doesn't feel that way, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Poppy says if Alex had gotten married when he was 24, he'd be married to Sarah, which is Alex's on again, off again girlfriend. Poppy suspects that Alex and Sarah are currently on again because he's kind of like being weird about stuff. Poppy's mom loves Alex and wants them to realize they're in love with each other. So Poppy will move back to Linfield and give her grandbabies. And Poppy's dad is intimidating and Alex is scared of him. So he's never let any of his personality show to Poppy's dad. Poppy remembers when Alex picked her up that first summer for their karaoke night and how she tried to shield him from her family and her house because they're like borderline hoarders. But
Yeah.
by the end of their road trip home, oh, sorry, were you going to say something else?
I was just gonna say hoarders, 100%. They're
Yeah.
between animals, it sounds like, and stuff. I think she called
Uh-huh.
her house a museum relic of her childhood or something like that. It's like they never threw a single picture her and her brothers drew away and like that kind of stuff. It's just like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, it's pretty funny.
Probably overwhelming.
Mhm.
And Poppy knew enough about Alex just by taking the road trip home with him to understand that he would not like being in her parents' house because, yeah, they're bordering on being hoarders. Like organized chaos. Poppy doesn't want Alex to be uncomfortable, but she also doesn't want him to judge her family. So Poppy told Alex to just wait and she would meet him in the driveway, but he didn't listen. So he comes to the door like a good little boy. And before Poppy can head off the disaster, he's already inside. She's like, no. Alex never says anything unkind about her parents or their house. And he even sent flowers to Poppy when one of her dogs died and sent like a sweet, funny card and tells Poppy that he's there if she needs him. Poppy still has the note. She allows herself to keep like one shoebox of sentimental things after growing up with this hoarder trauma. But Poppy's excited to see Alex and she's nervous. It's really hitting her that she hasn't seen him in real life in over 2 years. Poppy hasn't touched him, hasn't heard his voice. She's worried it'll be awkward. So she gets off the plane and is about to text Alex to meet at baggage claim, but he's right there at the gate. So they hug and everything you would expect a hug with your best friend / slightly non-platonic friend. Like, or one of the most important people in your life to be after 2 years of complete absence, and they're just really happy to be together again. So let me go back to 10 summers ago, unless you have anything else to say.
No, it just their
Okay.
hug, I mean, she's like I think there is a quote she says about, like, breathing him in, and she feels like she's,
Mhm.
like, taken a breath for the first time in 2 years, like, she's been
Yeah.
holding her breath since she last saw him, and yeah, I don't know why she
Yes.
thinks they're just or why she feels just friendly towards him and
I
not
know.
something else, but
Yeah. Oh, I have some quotes.
yeah.
Poppy is thinking about her mom used to write her aspirational notes on the mirror, and it would say, "Good morning to that beautiful smile. Hello, strong arms and legs. Have a great day, lovely belly that feeds my darling daughter." And so Poppy will think this now, but she's looking at Alex and she's thinking, "I have missed you, beautiful smile. It's so good to see you, strong arms and legs. Thank you, freakishly taut belly, for feeding this person I love so much." And I was like, "That's so sweet." And I think just her staring at him, he's like, "What?" And she's like, "Nothing." And he goes, "It's good to see you too, Poppy." And I was like, he gets it.
Does it is this the first time we get the "You're so tall" when she because
It
she, like,
must
says
be,
that to
yeah.
because she, like,
I
says
think
that to
that's
him.
what she says. Yeah,
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 "You're
yeah.
so tall." It's like
And he
it's like
goes,
her way of
"I
being like,
it's good to see you too."
yeah, like, "I missed you. You're so tall." Like, that's what she just
Yeah.
says to him. Oh, it's so cute.
Yes. Okay, so that was them in the airport. Now we're 10 summers ago. Poppy and Alex are about to take a vacation together. This is their first time. Poppy reminisces how after their road trip home together a year ago, about 3 weeks after they'd started talking on the phone and hanging out, and by that time summer ended, they had signed up for 2 classes together at college. And so back at college, most nights they're together studying or doing homework. And one night while they're studying, they started listing places they wanted to go and they land on visiting Vancouver together. So that's where they're headed this summer. Alex has never flown before and he doesn't realize that he's afraid of flying until they are on the plane. He's like having a panic attack. While Poppy is comforting him on the plane, she thinks about the very small part of her that is attracted to Alex, but she also likes Alex way too much to ever try to date him. She still thinks of the two of them as completely incompatible. Which I'm like, completely incompatible? You're best friends.
I know, and the only thing that
What?
I could think is that maybe she just thinks romantically incompatible, like, there are people that you could be
Right,
like,
yeah.
"Okay, we're really good friends, but there is absolutely no way that I would ever wanna date you,"
Mhm.
or something like that. But I agree. How can you not? Your chemistry is so good. Like I said, all the joking and the
Mhm.
banter, like, I mean, they
Yeah.
joke you should marry your best friend. So
Yeah, yeah.
I don't yeah.
Right, right. I know. Part of me wants to be like, "Well, men and women can be platonic best friends," and then I'm like, "No, they can't." Not in
Yeah.
this book. I was also thinking in the movie, like, this is not relayed the same way. Like, you don't already like, I feel like they're way closer in the book than
Okay.
they were in the
Mhm.
movie. You kind of just get like, "Oh, they just vacation together. They kind
Mhm.
of get along," like, they're vacation buddies, but the way they're
Instead of,
like
like, actual best friends that also travel
yeah,
together. It's like the
that, like,
opposite kind of yeah.
yeah, spend so much time together in college and stuff. But anywho, now we're back in the present. Poppy still hasn't told Alex that R&R isn't funding this trip for her and that she's taking a vacation from work. So she's trying to cover that up by pretending she's making this trip as reminiscent of their very first trip as you can. So that's why they don't have a rental car from her work. Instead, she sourced a ride on Facebook and there's like not a photographer with them and stuff. On the way to get to the car, which they're driving for someone, like, who's on vacation, so the car doesn't sit for months, like, that's how this whole thing works. They meet a couple on the shuttle, and they play a game where they play this, like, a lot, where they just invent fake backstories for themselves and pretend to be completely different people. So, they pretend like they are newlyweds, and they're just having a fun time tricking these people. Finally, they get to the car, and it's a piece of shit, so they have a comical ride from LA to Palm Springs. Again, they coulda just flown straight to Palm Springs, but whatever.
Yep.
They also have some heartfelt moments, like making up for lost time. We find out more about Poppy's backstory and how she was bullied in middle school and high school, and this is the main reason why she really hates East Linfield. Poppy, though, feels known, loved, and wholly accepted by Alex, and that's one of the reasons why he's her best friend. She remembers one night in college where they both ended up sleeping in his dorm together because his roommate was already gone for the summer, and they had a little heart to heart where he told Poppy about his mom dying and what that was like for him and his family, and Poppy told him all about her bullies. She's even in Poppy's own family, she felt always like the fifth wheel. She has two brothers and her parents. And so having Alex be her other half is important to her. They arrive at the Desert Rose apartment complex where they're staying, and immediately things start to go wrong. So, like, for starters, Palm Springs, we've already talked about this, is hot as hell, like literal hell. It's the hottest place I've ever been. And I grew up in
Me
Florida.
too.
I can't even,
Yeah.
it, like,
It's worse
think,
than Vegas,
yeah,
I personally thought, and I've been to Vegas in July a couple times.
yeah,
So,
I've never
yeah,
experienced heat like that. So,
yeah.
they get into their unit and the thermostat is set to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. And the unit was advertised as having 2 beds, but there's just 1 bed and a weird pull-out chair. So they're like, "Oh, no." And there's also construction on the balcony, so the sliding glass door and everything's covered in tarps. And in desperation, Poppy's like, "You wanna go to the pool?" So they go to the pool. So now we're back 10 summers ago. They're having fun exploring Vancouver. They do talk about some point in here about how Vancouver is a rainforest, and I was like, "Does Cammy hate that?"
I do. I have the wrong opinion on this. I know this, but I do
Yeah.
hate it still.
They're a little jet lagged and slap happy. They're just having fun. They meet a gallery girl inside of a hotel who tries to sell them some ridiculously expensive art. So that gives them an inside joke for the rest of their trip about items speaking to them, end quote. They get a car through the Facebook share thing and they get to their motel, which is actually in a retirement village. So that's another. They do a lot of hiking in the redwoods. They're having a great time, even though it rains all week. They don't have a ton of money, so they keep eating at the same 2 affordable restaurants. But Poppy thinks that this is what she wants for the rest of her life is to see new places, meet new people, try new things, and this is when they agree to always have a summer trip. So on the last day of their trip, they take this water taxi to an island, and the driver is named Buck, who's about their age. And when they are paying him at the very end and tell him where they're staying, he's like, "Oh, my grandparents live there. You shouldn't stay there. Like, come hang out at our house." His house is just up the road, so they walk, and it's your typical, like, hippie commune college kid hangout house. Just a bunch of like a bunch of
Gave me
hippies.
flashbacks. Gave me flashbacks
Yeah,
from, like,
yeah, yeah. There's like
college, yeah.
1,000 people there. They're all dirty. They're sleeping in tents, doing drugs.
Who lives here? Oh,
Um,
she does, like, sometimes, but not all the
right.
time,
She's been
and
staying
yeah.
here for a few months and like blah
Yeah,
blah blah.
yeah.
Um, So they hang out with all these people like all night long. Poppy and Buck go and hook up for a little bit, but when she tells him that she doesn't want to have sex, he nicely kicks her out of his room, which was so funny. He's like, "Oh, well, see ya." But, they and then she just thinks it's funny. She's not upset at all, and Poppy ends up in a tent with Alex, and she thought Alex would be hooking up with one of the girls, but he wasn't into her. She talks about Sarah again.
Mhm.
I do feel like Poppy's constantly I was like, "Does Alex even like Sarah?" Poppy just keeps trying to convince him to like her almost.
I know, it's almost like a, like, weird, almost like, "Oh, well, you like her, right?" Almost like trying to set it up to be like, "Oh, you like this person who is so much not like me, right? Right?" Like, I'm trying to set
Right.
some type of boundary or, like, in my head that we're so incompatible, like, romantically. You have
Mhm.
shown interest in this other girl who is not like me at all. So you do like her, right? Like, you wanna date
Right,
her,
right,
right?
right. Yeah, yeah. So now we're back in the present. They're at the pool, and it's so hot outside. Can't be overstated. Alex, always goes to the gym, so he's ripped and hot, and they have some sunscreen applying sexual tension.
Mhm, mhm. I liked that part.
Um yeah, it's funny. Poppy asks some questions about Sarah, but Alex is cagey. Poppy's like, "Okay, noted. Do not bring her up anymore." He doesn't want to talk about that. They get in the pool, but it's not even refreshing because there's like a million people in it, and it's really hot.
Oh, I just okay,
um,
real quick, this made me think of, like,
yeah.
human soup. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
ugh,
yeah.
just it's so
God, it's
hot
so
and
gross.
you're sunscreen
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
sweat, and I'm imagining this tiny little rinky
Mhm.
dink, like, I don't know, 15 by 20
Yeah, not
pool
a very
that
big
there's, like,
pool.
40
Yep.
people standing in. Ugh, ugh, gross.
Yeah. They have some tension again because they have to stand so close together in the pool because it's so crowded. And then they go back to their room. The room is actually hotter than it was before they left, even though they like cranked the air conditioner down. So they find out from the landlord or whatever, that you have to turn it down 1 degree at a time and wait for it to adjust between each change. And so Alex comes out from the bathroom post shower and she's like, it's gotten down like 1 degree or whatever. But Poppy, thinks about how different it is to see someone in a towel than in a bathing suit. So she feels tingly. Um, and she's like, "Ugh, it never used to be like this between us." And she blames Croatia. Tell me what happened in Croatia right
I
fucking
know.
now.
No, I wanna
I want to
know, I
know.
wanna know.
It's
This
okay.
part was funny, though.
We'll find out
Oh, yeah.
eventually. I just have no patience.
I know. This part was just funny though, because it is so true. Like, when you're thinking about, like, for example, like, this is my thought process. Okay, gonna give you a little deep dive into my thoughts. Why does it matter if I'm
Yeah.
walking around in like exercise shorts and a sports bra in the summertime, but I can go to the pool
Yeah.
and be in a bikini and it doesn't matter? But because it's labeled a bra. Like, really get over it.
Hmm.
Just, that's just my 2 cents on that. But so
Right,
in this
right, right.
instance though, I can kind of understand why,
I
seeing
agree.
someone in a towel for whatever reason is just a little bit different. I don't know. It just
Mhm.
is. Mm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah. Totes. Okay, so now it's 9 summers ago. This summer, Poppy and Alex go to Nashville because they can't afford to go to Paris, so they go to the Paris of America, which is Nashville.
I'd never heard this phrase before, but it made me laugh really hard.
Yeah, it's not real, so that's why
No,
I
right?
never heard it before. The morning they are set to leave, Poppy's doing some last minute packing, so Alex is stuck talking to her dad, and Poppy's mom comes into her room. By the way, Poppy's mom in the movie is Molly Shannon, which is really
Oh
funny.
my That's because
Um,
this part that's
so her
coming
mom
up and
comes
then
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So just imagine it's Molly Shannon, which makes better. So Poppy's mom comes into her room with a jumbo box of condoms for them to take on their trip. And Poppy's like, now that I think about it, like, of course my mom thinks we're having sex. But what she's actually more nervous to tell her mom about is that Poppy has decided not to go back to college. And she's only told Alex so far. So she thought about doing study abroad, but she just does not want to be in school and waste her time or money doing that. Traveling is about like wandering to her. So if she is in school in a good place, she'll be stuck inside, like doing class and homework and stuff, and she wants to just be doing whatever she wants. She's already started amassing a following online with her blog, but she has like a couple thousand followers. So Poppy tells her mom that she and Alex are not having sex, and her mom is like very like, "Oh, of course you aren't." Wink, wink, nod, nod. Like, I get it. But the truth is, Poppy is still a virgin. Poppy and Alex leave, and there's a very sitcom moment, like with the box of condoms, where people see it. Poppy's like, "It's okay. We have extra room in our luggage for this gigantic box." She's like, "We'll just tie it to the car if we can't fit it." All that kind of stuff. Um, yeah. It's like, wait a minute.
That was so funny.
Kiki. Yeah, and her mom's like,
Poppy just
she's like, "That was private. Don't show him that."
what was so funny is Poppy's like, "Oh, you thought you could just
Uh,
embarrass me one-on-one? I'm gonna bring this out in front of Alex and Dad and you and make
yeah.
everyone super uncomfortable about this. You're welcome."
Yeah. So she is able to leave the condoms. They don't come with them. But Poppy and Alex get to Nashville, and their hotel room is Billy Ray Cyrus themed, like a chintzy hotel.
Mhm.
They're recounting the condom episode, and Poppy mentions she's still a virgin, which Alex didn't know. So she's like, I guess there is some stuff we don't talk about. But Alex has had sex with at least 2 people. And he also makes a comment about like outdoor sex isn't all it's cracked up to be. I think that's how the conversation like starts kind of.
Yes.
So they have some back and forth, and he ends up like above her on the bed, like pinning her down kind of or whatever. But for the first time, Poppy wants to kiss Alex.
Yeah, they were like like they were kinda like play fighting, like friend play fighting, and yeah, he pinned her
Yeah.
down and
Yep.
mhm, yes, it's nice.
Mm.
Alright. We are back in the present this summer. Alex and Poppy head out to an inexpensive but delicious Mexican restaurant after they manage to get their apartment they're renting down to a nice balmy 78 degrees. Things are going really well at dinner, and they're making jokes, and Poppy's feeling like reminiscent of old times that they used to spend together. And she ends up making a joke about owning a dishwasher and needing to register it with the state, like, "Oh, you're such an adult now. You own your own dishwasher." And Alex responds with, like, "Yeah, I got the dishwasher with the house." He didn't tell her that he bought a house. In fact, it's his grandmother's old house that needed a lot of work after she had passed away. So Alex had moved in to fix it up. Poppy didn't know that his grandmother had died either. Poppy
Mhm.
brings up that he didn't tell her about his cat or his grandmother dying, and she's, like, trying to hold back tears, like, she's super emotional that he didn't let her know or, like, feel like he could tell her these things. He admits that he wasn't sure that she'd wanna hear from him about these things, and she kinda just simply responds with, like, "I did. You're still yeah, I wanted to hear from you about this." She wonders if he had also typed out messages to her that never got sent, or if he also feels like he's missed out on 2 years of his life without her in it, because that's how she feels. And it kind of,
Mhm.
this relays back to earlier in the book, like, she does talk about how when she accidentally sent the "Hey" message, she had typed out and attempted or thought about sending messages for the past 2 years and just never did it. So,
Mhm.
she tries to sneakily pay with her credit card, but he notices that it's hers and not her business card and asks her what that's about. And she kind of makes up an excuse about how they get reimbursed now instead of having their own cards issued, and it's all just to keep up the ruse that her company is paying for this vacation. It's awkward again, and it's like Croatia is just sitting there unresolved between them, and Poppy is wondering if it will keep hurting when she keeps learning about all the things that have happened in the last 2 years. When they get back to the apartment, the temperature in the apartment went up instead of down again. While they were out, they get ready for bed and argue a little bit about who's gonna be sleeping on the actual bed versus the pull-out chair. They both are kind of doing the noble thing and being like, "No, I'll take the crappy chair. No, I'll
Mhm.
take the crappy chair," whatever. But they end up, like, in a little bit of a playful wrestling match again. They're pretty, like, physically comfortable with each other still, even though things are kinda awkward right now,
Yeah.
and she ends up falling on top of Alex. She kind of forgets where she is for a moment and kind of just relaxes and snuggles into him a little bit, and then she realizes what she's doing, and she jumps off of him, and she's like, "Okay, I'll just sleep in the real bed. You got it. It's yours. Like, I don't wanna make anything
Yeah.
more awkward. Thank you." Still this summer, Poppy is woken up in the middle of the night to what she thinks is a burglar, and she's like, "Hey, get out of here." She, like, starts yelling at him, but it's just Alex, and he is suffering from a back spasm. This was really funny.
Yeah.
She
It's
so
like, "Are
funny.
we old now?" Yes.
Yes. She asks if he wants to lay down, but he tells her that getting up and down is super difficult when this happens. And she thinks about how, yet again, this is a new to Poppy development of Alex's over the last few years. He was trying to get out of the chair bed to go for his daily run, and it was 5:30 in the morning. And honestly, I think he kind of deserved this. Who gets up at 5:30 in the morning? But we have
Alex
said it's
Nilsson.
no, but we have said it's Palm Springs and it's hot. I bet you do need to get up and
Yeah.
run well before the sun is up to not
Yeah.
be super hot. So, but he twisted it weird while he was getting up. Alex has never liked relying on others for help. So he tells her, like, an ice and heating pad alternating and some muscle relaxants will make him better. But they don't have an ice pack or a heating pad. So Poppy leaves to go get some from a pharmacy for him. And again, she's just funny. So I had this one made me laugh. She's like, "Don't dance around naked until I get back, please." Okay. Like he can't move, but she's
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, don't do that."
I highlighted that too.
Yeah, so funny. 8
Mm.
summers ago, Alex and Poppy are taking their summer trip to San Francisco this year, and they're celebrating Alex graduating from college and being accepted to get his MFA in creative writing at Indiana University. Poppy is very excited that they're going to be closer again once he starts school at Indiana University because it's been harder to see each other since she dropped out of school and moved back in with her parents. She does not love running into people from her hometown and has a job at a bar far away to try to avoid them. So even though she's moved back home and she's living with her parents, she still does not want anything to do with the area or the people who are still
Mhm.
there. She's dating a guy named Julian. He is a starving artist stereotype and he's very laid back and chill. They do not want to get married to each other or anyone else in the future. So there's not a whole lot of
Mhm.
pressure on the relationship. And he's the second person that Poppy has been with. Alex and
What does that
Julian
mean? Just kidding, just
do
kidding.
it's like, oh, euphemisms. I need to re-rack my brain here. Alex and Julian have met a few times and they don't like each other at all. Alex says, "I just can tell he doesn't get it." And Poppy says, "Get what?" And he goes, "You. He has no idea how lucky he is."
I highlighted that
Hello.
too, and I was like,
Uh,
gasp.
Duh. God. I mean, listen, friends say supportive things like that to other friends all the time if they're dating someone they don't like, but come on. He
Mhm.
is telling you how lucky Julian is. Anyway,
Yeah.
and the way Poppy describes Julian does not sell me on him at all. He sounds like he's
Yeah.
one of those ultra like creative artsy types that like kind of goes into his hidey hole and is maybe unavailable for days on end, which is totally
Mhm.
fine, but they've already established that there's not a future between them, so, like, what was really the
Yeah.
point of the relationship anyway?
It seemed like they had, like, amazing chemistry. Like, she talked about being, like, obsessed with him and wanting to be with him at all
Right.
times and stuff.
Mhm.
So,
And
she was, like,
yeah,
infatuated.
yeah. Julian does not come on the trip with them, thankfully, but that means that Alex does have to step in to help Poppy take photos for her new massive followers that she has. Her travel blog has been doing really well and is starting to take off. They go to a few wineries, and at the second one, while they're already a little tipsy, they play the game of making up a backstory about themselves when a woman asks how long they've been together. They keep telling people that they're newlyweds throughout the trip, mostly because they keep getting freebies, like a free bottle of wine, a free plate of free charcuterie board. Like they
Yeah.
just keep getting all this free stuff.
Oldest trick
And
in the book.
it is. A couple of days into the trip, while drunk, Poppy tells Alex that Julian doesn't want to get married to anyone, and the emotions are overflowing about how she's worried that the only people who will ever love her are her parents, and she's going to die alone. But she also isn't sure if she wants to get married. So it's so hard and confusing. Like, she's like, I don't understand why I'm
Yeah.
upset about this, but I'm upset about it. I don't even know if that's what I
Right, right,
want.
right.
She's so sad. But Alex says he loves her and they can die alone together. And I was like, oh,
I know,
schmoopy.
I highlighted those parts, yeah.
Oh, so cute. They end up staying at a bed and breakfast recommended to them for the last 2 days of their trip in wine country. And Poppy and Alex take quite a few photos together. But Poppy doesn't want to post any of them to her travel blog. She wants to keep this part of their trip special for just the two of them. The last full day in San Francisco, they end up doing all the touristy trap things there and decide on a fancy pants restaurant for their last meal of the trip. But they're broke, broke
Yeah.
people still, and they go, like, into the super fancy restaurant and go as cheaply as possible. Like, they split an appetizer and they split an
Yeah.
entree and they don't get anything to drink, and she goes, "Yeah, our waiter hated us." Like, it was
Yeah.
and because they were so cheap and did not actually get
Uh,
anything, they, like, have to go out and get pizza and go to a bar after because they're, like, starving,
yeah.
they didn't get anything to eat. And Julian gets brought up again, and Alex asks if she's going to dump him. In her head, it was like an immediate, "Yes, I'm gonna dump him." But she only says, "I don't
Yeah.
know, maybe," to Alex. Once they
Yeah.
get back to the hotel, they snuggle up a little drunkenly together. Like, they're just kind of like I said, they're very physically comfortable with each other. So it's still
Mhm.
platonic, but they are, like, kind of, like, in each other's personal space. And but she gets a little embarrassed. I think maybe she feels like she was kind of laying on top of him a little bit, like, kind of like head on
Mhm.
his shoulder kind of thing. And she thinks about that she's going to need to wait to dump Julian, or Alex might think that this trip with him and the breakup are related to each other.
Yes. I also highlighted that part. Like, I know
Yeah.
right then I can't break up with Julie when I get home. I have to wait long enough to be sure I'm not confused, long enough that Alex won't think the two events are connected. They're not, I think. I'm pretty sure they're not. Also, I have to point out a few things.
Yeah.
One, when they were doing touristy stuff in San
Mhm.
Francisco, they're walking across the is it the Golden Gate Bridge or whatever? But
Yes.
she goes, "We
Mhm.
stopped halfway across and I pretended to climb over the railing." It's like so fucked up to
Right?
do.
'Cause
And he's
Alex
like,
is
"Don't
like,
do that."
"Stop it."
Yeah. He's like, "That makes me feel like I'm gonna have diarrhea." I think that's what he says. And then there's at some other point where he goes, "Giving high fives make me feel like my insides have poison ivy."
'Cause he, like, hates PDA of any form. Like, he doesn't care
Yeah.
what it is,
Like,
but PDA is not acceptable.
touching people.
Yeah.
Yes. But also this visual. So when he's talking about Julian, he goes, "You probably would have had more fun if you'd taken this trip with Julian." He didn't say it like a question, but the way his eyes darted over to me, then back to the sidewalk ahead of us, I could tell that it was one. I was like, "Oh, cute little baby." Okay. Anyway, I highlighted so much shit in this book.
Mine was crazy. I for whatever reason, my total count wasn't working. It told me, like, per chapter how many I had, but I have a ton
Mm,
in this book too. Ton.
yeah.
All right, so we're back in the present this summer. Poppy goes to a 24-hour pharmacy to get the things for Alex's back, and when she gets back, she can tell that he's still in a lot of pain even though he tries to tell her otherwise. She gets him set up with a heating pad first, which I think it's because it was one of those, like, ice packs that you have to freeze before
Mhm.
it'll start working. Obviously, it wasn't like the break and it'll start anyway. And she admits that that's not gonna be super comfortable in their
Yeah.
raging hot apartment still. And then she puts some icy hot on his back, and he's, like, really uncomfortable with her, like, putting it on him. And maybe it's a combination of him just being in pain still, but he was, like, really awkward with her doing that for him.
Yeah.
And so he's like, "Why don't you just leave and go out and get some of the content that you need for work?" And all she can think about is how this trip is supposed to be about them reconnecting, and she doesn't want to leave him.
Mhm.
But she needs to also keep up the ruse that this is a work trip. And so she leaves and goes to the Palm Springs Art Museum. Poppy goes, but she admits that she doesn't really get art unless she has someone there explaining it to her. And I was like, girl, same.
Yeah, right.
Not cultured enough to get some of it, right? And she remembers someone once telling her that it's all about feeling something with art, but she also has never understood how long it should take to feel something, and she always feels like she's being judged by others depending on how long or how short of a time she takes to look at each piece. I'm like, "Yeah,
Mhm.
that's stressful."
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's also talking about how when she was dating Julian, he would take her to those
Oh, yeah, yeah.
what is it called?
Like an
Like,
exhibition or
I guess something like that, where it's like somebody that's like one of those live art things
Yes.
where it's like, "Here I am naked with a bunch of tools on this table. I'm just gonna
Mhm.
stand here for 12 hours and do nothing while you do whatever you want to me," or like some weird art
Yes.
like that. That's
Yeah.
even worse than looking at paintings.
Yeah.
She's like, "I would feel disgusted and, like, angry and whatever," and I'm like, "Yeah, I
Mm.
get
Yeah,
like,
I mean
that's I don't wanna feel that way necessarily." But anyway.
once she felt like she had, spent enough time at the museum, she goes and tries to do some antiquing, but she's decided she's wasted enough time working and heads back to the apartment with sandwiches for dinner for her and Alex. While Poppy asks how long his back spasms have been happening, they've been happening a few times a year since Croatia, so it gets brought up and she's just like, "Oh god." dang it. So this is a new
Mhm.
revelation as well.
Mm.
Poppy admits that she feels like she's missed a lot of his life, and he responds with, "Me too." Like, God damn it, just tell me what happened. Why weren't you guys talking to each other forever? God.
I know. Mm.
This conversation makes Poppy start to think if she really wants the same things anymore and how uninspired she's been with work, how upset she was with the fallout with Alex. It's making her think about all of her life choices. They decide to just hang out and watch a movie. Alex is still struggling to be very mobile, and so he kind of old man walks to go to the bathroom and tells Poppy to get Netflix pulled up on his laptop for them to pick something to watch. When Poppy opens his laptop, he has a web browser open to a job application to Berkeley Carroll, which is a school in New York City. Poppy is super excited. She's like, "Oh my god, that's where I live," as if he didn't know that already. But Alex like
Uh,
tries to rein her back in a little bit because he admits that he still has a lot of things in Linfield that he needs to sort out before making that kind of decision.
mhm,
His grandmother's house that he inherited, and dot, 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 some other things. Yep, him and Sarah might be getting back together. This leads to an argument where she's like, "There's a reason you broke up." And
mhm,
he's like, "Well, there's a reason we dated." And while they both can agree that the dating world is tough out there, Alex gets really mad and tells Poppy that he wants the wife and the kids and grandkids eventually, and he wants the white picket fence. And he does not want to miss out on that kind of life because it really matters to him to have those things, which Linfield can give him, and how that is so different from what Poppy wants out of her life. She's mentioned this multiple times. She doesn't want to get married. She doesn't
mhm,
really know that she wants any of that or even more like serious relationships necessarily. Like she's had boyfriends and she was with Julian and she really
mhm.
liked him, but she even was like, "Yeah, it doesn't matter. We're not getting married."
Yeah, it really feels like that's the fulcrum that their relationship,
Mhm.
like,
Is
balances on.
hint exactly. Poppy feels slightly embarrassed that she's never quite understood why he defended their small hometown until this very moment. Like, this is why he wanted to go back there. Had nothing to do with, I mean,
Mhm,
yes, he wanted to be close to his dad and his family and stuff, but he wants all these things and he thinks that that's where the best place is going to be to do that.
mhm.
She tries to hold it together, but she ends up crying, and she tells him that she doesn't find any of those things unbearable, and she understands why he wants all of those things, but that Sarah has taken advantage of him, and he deserves better than her. Alex puts his arm around her to comfort her. I mean, he did kinda yell at her a little bit, but there's
I
some
mean, valid, kind of. He has a lot of
ye
angst going on.
yes, and it's hot, and he's having back pain. He's got a lot
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
to be a
yeah,
little irritated about right now.
yeah.
And Poppy thinks that she's glad that his back problem is making her be more careful because she could really just snuggle up into him, which is probably not wise for her heart right now. They commiserate on being on
Mhm.
dating apps, and she tells him she'll look at his Tinder account and make it look more appealing. 7 summers ago.
Yeah, wait a
Alex.
second, I have to say
Okay,
things
sorry.
about
Oh,
this
yeah.
chapter.
Yes.
No, 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 it's
Please,
fine.
please.
I was
Sorry.
just like, again, so many things. Okay, she starts bringing up in this chapter, things from their past vacations. You know, she'll be like, "Remember when we went to San Francisco?" And it's usually about the thing we just read about, whatever, but
Mhm.
we went to San Francisco and we kept saying "when in Rome" whenever we wanted to buy something, and he's like, Maybe. I don't know, I have a pretty bad memory."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Is that a truth or a lie? Like, are you faking with that?" And she's like, "Yeah, it's possible all these little moments that meant so much to me never quite meant the same thing to him, and, like, he didn't miss her the same way when they were not talking for 2 years."
Mhm.
Also, when she gets back from the art museum and she's telling him how long she was there and, like, that she might be on a list now or something because she was being suspicious. He goes, "Why? Did you steal something priceless?" And she goes, "I won't know until I have it appraised," which made me laugh a lot. Anyway, but yeah, and then she's freaking out about him moving, like, when she's like, "I won't bother you if you live in New York," right? And
Mhm.
he holds my eyes for a while like we're caught in a game of chicken, then he sighs and runs a hand over his face. "I don't know," he says. I'm like, "The angst?" And then, he's like, "I'm just kind of waiting to see what happens." And she's like, "Oh, so a woman." He never really answers that, though. I'm like, again, I
Mm-mm.
feel like she's just pushing Sarah on him,
Or she's,
and
like, assuming that Sarah's the woman that he's thinking about, and not that the decision
right.
for him to move is for Poppy, the other
R
woman in his
exactly,
life.
like,
Yeah.
he's waiting right now, b to see what happens on this vacation right now with
Mhm,
her. You know what I mean?
mhm.
And I was just thinking about how this whole book is only Poppy's POV, and now so many books
Right.
will switch off between other characters, and I'm like, there is something to be said for a single POV because you really are experiencing all of that with the character you are reading as. You know, like,
Mhm.
she never knows exactly what Alex is thinking, and neither do we until he
Right.
says things out loud. You can infer, but you're still like, "Is that what he means? Is that
Right.
look pointed like that? I hope it is, but I don't know for sure. It could be something else." And so you're getting all of those, like, that same uncertainty that she's feeling, which I appreciate.
Exactly, because I feel like there's a much better chance for plot twists when you're only getting one person's side
Yeah,
of it, because
totally.
you're thinking or anticipating that they're feeling a certain way because that is how they're being portrayed,
Mhm.
but in actual like you said in this part, it's well, and we've read the book, we've analyzed the whole thing. We know what he's thinking
Mhm.
or, kind of we have a little bit better idea of
Right.
what he wants from
We know
everything.
what we know what
Yeah.
genre we're in.
Yes. We do. But it's just that's such a good point that because we're only getting it from her point of view, like we can infer, but we don't really know what Alex is saying. So you're kind of living it with that
Yeah.
character versus when you get this opposite. Because, sometimes it's like in certain
Mhm.
books where you're like, oh my God, he hates me so much. And then the next chapter is his point of view. And you're like, oh, well, he actually loves her. But you know what I mean? But you don't
Right, yeah, yeah, yeah.
get it
So
from this.
sometimes
Yeah.
that works and it's really fun, and other times it's like, it's a little too much, and sometimes I don't
Hmm.
love the guy's POV. I'm like, "I wish I didn't know what he was
Yeah.
thinking right now," actually.
Yeah.
But there was also one thought she has when they're, like, gonna almost cuddle on the couch. "I shoved down the hazy memories of everything that mouth did in Croatia." That's what she says. I was like,
I
"Let's
was
fucking
like,
go!"
it's like, how many years ago was Croatia? How many more summers do we need to get through before we're gonna
I
find out
know.
what
It
the
was 2
hell
years
happened?
ago.
Yes.
So many. Anyway,
So
okay.
now we're at 7 years ago.
Oh my
Alex
goodness.
and Poppy's summer trip is to New Orleans. And Alex is excited to discover the city's architecture, and Poppy is excited for alcohol available in slushy form and going into voodoo shops. Just, they're so different in their interests. It's great. It's
Mhm.
very hot and humid, which Poppy compares to her new life in New York. She's been in New York City for 5 months, and Alex has visited her once when he brought a car full of her stuff from Ohio after he had finished his first year of grad school. They do all the quintessential New Orleans things. They go to Canal Street and Bourbon Street and they eat the beignets and they get all the frozen cocktails. And they decide that their alter egos for this week are Gladys and Keith Vivant, a Broadway power couple whose motto is staying on theme matters. And they use this saying, like, stay on theme, in order to get like the other person to do something that they really didn't want to do. It's like every single
Yeah.
thing, stay on theme. And
Yeah.
there's so many funny examples of this. I didn't insert them, but they're really cute. Poppy tells Alex that she loves when he gets his weird, aka comfortable Alex out, and he tells her that he's not like this with anyone else. They keep up this fake couple charade just as a way to have fun, and then they put on this whole fake production while they're doing karaoke of Poppy accusing
Yes.
Alex of cheating on her with their makeup artist. So they just make this whole thing up like on the spot and she just starts yelling at him,
Yeah.
"I can't believe that you are cheating on me with
It doesn't take an hour to put on a freaking fake
your
beard,
face."
Keith. That's I have that. I'm so glad you said that because I was like,
Yeah.
I really wanted to talk about it, but I didn't wanna jump in too soon with it. But yeah, a mic'd fight during karaoke, and then it says, "The applause at the end is muted and uncomfortable."
Which is like one of those funny things that like I think Poppy like secretly lives for that kind of reaction.
Huh.
Like she doesn't care what kind of reaction
Yes.
gets, she just wants something from people.
Yeah, yeah.
So they're hitting up all these
Oh.
really good like restaurants and bars in New Orleans, and all of them were recommended to Poppy by Guillermo, a chef that had invited her friend Rachel, the other influencer, to come and do a review of his restaurant. Poppy's friendship with Rachel has increased her own online popularity since they met in the last 5 months.
Mhm.
Guillermo and Poppy are now a bit of an item. He's nothing like Julian, thankfully, and had recently agreed to be exclusive with Poppy and not see other people. Poppy is sure that Alex and Guillermo will get along, and this prompts Alex to let Poppy know that he ran into his college crush Sarah before this trip, but she's still living in Chicago, so they're just texting right now. Poppy encourages him to pursue and feels like that 5% of what if. This is the she talks about it and mentions back to it a couple times throughout the book, but she said that there's always been 5% of her that wonders what if between her and
Mhm.
Alex. And so that
Yeah.
what if percentage does seem to fluctuate depending on where she's at in her own life. So right now,
Yeah.
that 5% feels like it's completely gone. It's resolved itself because she really does like
Mhm.
Guillermo. After a somewhat boring cemetery tour, oh my gosh, Alex makes the tour guide super uncomfortable and keeps asking like if certain graves are haunted every time they walk by.
Yeah. Every single
It's really
grave.
funny.
Yes. That was really funny.
So is this one haunted? So after that boring cemetery tour, they decide that just wandering is going to be the best way for them to spend their last night in the city. After hitting a few bars, they come to a brass band that's playing out in the middle of the street, and Alex asks Poppy to dance. Poppy wants to take a picture together to commemorate the moment and thinks to herself, I wish I could bottle this moment and wear it as a perfume. Back at the hotel,
Yeah.
Poppy asks to read some of the short stories Alex is working on for his graduate program, and he relents because he's embarrassed but he doesn't really want to be in the room while she's reading them. The story that she reads brings her to tears. She just really feels it. So this is echoing back to before. Some art you just have to feel it. She really connects with it because it reminds her of wanting to be someone else when she was a kid because she was so lonely. The story makes her cry because she's not that kid anymore, and as long as she has Alex, she will never be alone again. Hmm.
Mhm.
She, so
Yeah.
sweet. Yeah.
All right, I have more things to say, okay?
Yes, please, please.
Okay. I don't remember what the context is, but she goes, "I will always think every joke I make is hilarious, but point taken." I was like, "Same. I feel the same way."
Yeah.
Um, and then when they get to one of, like, the
Oh,
themed bars and Alex is like, "This place is horrible. You love it, don't you?" And then they have to stand so close together, and she has to, like, tip her head back to look at him, and he brushes my hair from my eyes and cups the back of my neck as if to stabilize it. "I'm sorry for being so tall," he says. I was like, "Oh my god."
yeah.
Uh, and then at the bar too, he goes, "Make that 2, I say. 2 of those alcohols, please."
Because Alex like tries to walk up and be funny. He's like,
Yeah.
can't remember exactly how he phrases it to the bartender, but like, what do you think I'd like? Or what would I like here? Or something like that. And the bartender is just
Oh,
like,
yeah, like,
oh my
I
God,
don't
just what do you want? Like, just tell me. And Alex is like,
yeah.
beer, please.
It's like,
And then
"A beer, please." Yeah.
Poppy's like, 2 alcohols, please. Like,
Yeah. "Hello, Vegas. We would like some more alcohol, and you know what
help.
else? We'd also like some more beers."
Ah,
What else? They dance together. I was like, "You're so in love." And then when she's talking about he
mhm.
picks up disgusting, dirty beads off the ground for her
Oh,
because she
yeah.
wanted to get beads earlier, but that somebody wanted him to flash. And so
Flash.
she was like, he got her beads. She's like, "Thank you for touching those filthy beads for me, Alex. I love them."
And she's like giving
But
him a
yeah,
hard
also
time about it. And then she just puts them
yeah,
on
yeah,
her head.
yeah.
Like,
She's like,
anyway,
"Did
she's
you
like,
just touch" yeah, she's like, "On the from the ground where there could have been vomit and beer and, like, all this disgusting stuff?" Yeah, then she wears them. And then when she was talking about bottling the moment and wearing it as perfume, I was like, "Girl, do you hear yourself? Like, how do you think that you're like, 'Oh, we're just platonic friends.'"
Mhm. I don't feel anything. That 5% of what if is totally gone. No, not at
Yeah,
all.
seriously.
Not at all, friend. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah,
Yeah.
those were all my
Oh,
extra
God.
thoughts.
Oh, it's so cute. This book
It's
is so cute.
cute, it's
It's
cute,
so
yeah.
cute. All right. So we're back to this summer. Poppy is reviewing Alex's Tinder profile and starts listing all the things that he should change. He does not need his full life summary in his bio. He needs to change the picture so it's not him with 3 other men. Poppy says, "No one wants to play dating app roulette. Try to figure out which man in the photo you are." Um,
Yes. When she
Poppy
goes,
thinks
"You you poor innocent baby creature freshly arrived to Earth." She's helping.
oh, so funny. Poppy thinks back to their trip to Tuscany when Alex had got an email that one of his short stories was going to get published. Poppy was able to capture what she called the naked Alex moment, where he's so amazingly happy and all of his walls are down. She tells Alex that he should use that one for his Tinder profile. There's kind of a heated eye contact, embarrassing exchange when she tells him that it's her favorite picture of him. And I'm like, oh my God. She then
Uh-huh.
reviews his bio in his profile. and admits that she loves all of these grandpa-esque things that he's put in there about him, but points out that he'll have nothing to talk about on a date if all of his info is in his bio. And I
Yeah,
was like,
that's
that's such a good point. What do you
yeah, for
there's no
sure.
first date questions. And I think she even says too, she's like, well, maybe it does make sense because when do you ever get a word in on a first date from Tinder anyway? All they do
Yeah.
is talk about themselves anyway.
Uh,
She tells him that she'll update his bio and she makes it like super weird and random and funny. And she includes important information like that he has a real bed frame. And he asks if that particular detail is really necessary. And she responds with, I thought you knew how grim it was out there. Like, this is what women
yeah.
are looking for, a man with a real
I
bed.
know.
Okay.
I was like, I mean, honestly, that's like a good thing to include.
Yeah, you're gonna get way more attention with that. For sure. He laughs, but he doesn't really get it. And then Poppy also brings up that he's intimidating. She starts listing all of her friends who had crushes on him over the years, and he realizes how oblivious he's been to advances from other women. He's like, oh, maybe I don't know what flirting is or what
Yeah.
these people were doing. Um, they start looking through the available options locally, and Alex, he shuts down every single one of them until there is essentially Sarah's doppelganger that comes up. And Poppy points out all the ways that the two women are similar, not necessarily in looks, but in obvious personality traits or just the vibes that they're giving off
Mhm.
is super similar. They start arguing about who and why they end up swiping right on certain people and how surface level it is. And it's not actually the kind of person that they're into. And then it comes down to, well, I would swipe right on you. And yeah, well, I'd swipe right on you too. Like they're trying to point out that like even though they're not each other's type, like maybe romantically, they keep trying to push that narrative.
Mhm.
She's like, "Well, I would still swipe right on you just looking at your face." Like immediately I would say that. And she shows him her
Yeah.
Tinder profile, and it's like from Halloween, and she's wearing this weird alien, like super sparkly
Yeah.
jumpsuit with like neon stuff all
Yeah.
around her. And she's like, "See, would you swipe right on this?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'd swipe right on that." And then there's
Yeah.
some more heated eye contact, and their voices like catch a little bit, like
Mhm.
they can't speak to each other, and they're like, "All right, we should just watch a movie now. This is getting
Yeah.
awkward." Yeah.
I was like, "You too, stop being dumb."
Mhm.
Also that whole Tinder interaction, yeah, it's like all the people that Poppy wants him to swipe right, I think that's how you do it, on people that,
Mhm.
are, like, eccentric and seem fun. They're like her, like, they're like Poppy, and it ends
Mhm.
up with Alex being like, "Maybe women like you think I'm boring," and I was like,
Mm.
"Right, this whole fight is about Poppy." Like, she's trying to get Alex to pick people like her, I feel
Mhm.
like, to make herself feel better, being like, "See, there is a possibility that he might do that,"
Right.
and he's, I don't know, refusing because he only wants Poppy, and then he sees,
Right.
like, a safe person, I guess, but I
Yeah,
don't know, they're just being dumb.
they are. Gosh, but the pining is so great. So just, you can
Mhm.
keep up
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
tension. I do enjoy.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
All right, so we're going back 6 summers ago. They are planning their summer trip to Vail, Colorado. Poppy is fresh off a breakup from Guillermo, who left her for the new hostess at his restaurant about a month after she moved in with him. What the fuck? What a dick move. Anyway, and she
I
had
know.
gotten
I
rid
was
of
like, "Oh my god."
and then this next part, she got rid of most of her furniture because he already had so much. So she was very strapped for cash for this trip because she had to replace everything she just got rid of. So she got rid of all of her stuff and moved
Yeah.
in with him, and then he cheated on her. Like, oh, double, triple dick move. God,
Not
I hate
cool.
him.
Not cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She can't help but wonder if he broke up with her because of their recent trip back to Ohio for her mom's birthday, where he got the full right experience. Their hoarding house was a disaster as usual. There was a cat running around with a diaper, running into walls. And she could tell even after the first day that they were there that he wasn't too sure about them. They're like sitting in bed and he makes this like kind of condescending, like, oh, poor you that you grew up like this kind of comment. And it,
Mhm.
it felt pretty icky.
Like, "I
Um,
understand you so much better now." I was like, "What does
yeah,
that mean?"
that, yeah. He wasn't like rude to her or her parents about anything. but she viewed his interactions with them as very insincere after that initial comment he made. After the breakup, this is hilarious. She stole one of his fancy cooking knives and it made her feel so much better. But then she's like, "Oh, I don't know if I should try to sell it. What if this is super unique?" And he's like, "What the fuck? She's trying to sell my knife." You know what
And
I mean?
he
But
buys it back, yeah.
yeah. But I mean, he kind of would deserve it. She needs some money. You just made her get rid of all of her stuff to move in with
Yeah.
you. And if it's
Ugh.
like, I mean, some of those chef knives are like really expensive, like thousands of dollars for a single knife.
Mhm.
So she could have maybe
Right.
refurnished her entire apartment. So yeah.
Yeah. I just love how she wants to let him, like, wonder where it went. She's
Yeah.
like, "I was gonna steal more stuff," but she's like, "I just want him to be like, 'Wait, where did I leave that? Where did it go?'"
Because if it's just one thing, it's maybe like
Right.
I must have like
Yeah.
misplaced that.
Like
But if it's multiple things, then he can be like, Poppy took it. But
yeah,
doing it this
yeah.
way was so sneaky. So sneaky. Alex has been dating Sarah for 9 months now, and Poppy doesn't think that Sarah likes her. But more pointedly here, Sarah does not like Poppy and Alex being such good friends, I think. And Alex and Poppy's communication has been decreasing steadily since him and Sarah started dating. Alex found a stray cat, and that is all that they seem to talk about these days. There was some
Flannery!
conversation.
I know Flannery
There's some
O'Connell.
conversation of canceling their summer trip between Poppy's finances and Sarah not really wanting the trip to happen, but both of them agree that Sarah coming along would probably make it really weird. So they aren't sure what's going to happen until Poppy gets offered the free trip to Vale, which we'll come
Mhm.
back to in just a minute. So
Yeah, I was saying the same thing. I was like, "Yeah, of course she feels weird about the trip." Alex
yeah.
loves Poppy. Also, I was really surprised that Poppy thinks the same thing, and she tells him that.
Hmm.
She's like, "Of course she feels weird." She says this directly to Alex, like, "I would too." And then she thinks to herself, "I don't blame her at all. If my boyfriend had a friendship with a girl like Alex is in mine, I would wind up in the yellow wallpaper. There's no way in hell I could believe it was wholly platonic, especially having been in
Hmm.
this friendship long enough to accept that 5 to 15-ish% of what if as part of the deal." So I'm like,
Mm,
"Poppy,
we're
yeah."
increasing
Like
percentage here. What if is that a nice
right.
15% now? Yeah.
I thought she was gonna be, like, more in denial, but her being like, "Yeah, duh, I wouldn't let my boyfriend do this either." If like, okay.
But that's also like,
So, yeah,
if you're really just friends, though, why would it have mattered? Like, you know what I
right.
mean? Like,
I mean, like, yeah,
I
but they're
know.
clearly, thinking
Yes.
they're not, and so, yeah, that is kind
Mhm.
of
Yeah.
fucked up that they're still going on this trip,
Yeah. Yeah.
even though I fully support it, so everything's
Yes.
fine.
We are back to this summer. Alex and Poppy decide to just stay in the same bed that night after they watch their movie. Between Alex's back and Poppy's potential migraine, they decide that the bed is big enough for the both of them. Poppy wakes up with her and Alex facing each other with about a foot of space between them, which I was like, whew, uncomplicated. Thank goodness. But her leg is hiked over his hip and his hand is resting on her thigh. Sassy. So Poppy feels like
Saucy.
sassy. Yes. Poppy feels like she needs to get out of this position before he wakes up. And she's already worried that he's going to regret saying that he'd swipe right on her. She does start to sit up and move away, but it does wake him up when she does so. He does like the mid sleep, like he grabs harder onto her thigh as she
Mm,
tries to move away from him. Like he's like gripping
yeah.
her heart. Oh, anyway, wanted to throw that in there. And he starts to stand up to see how his back is doing. And it does seem to be better than the day before. But he also has a huge erection, and he brings up how hot it is to try to distract everyone from what's going on.
I was like, "Oh my god."
Alex goes to take a shower so that they can get moving for the day, and Poppy wishes she could go in and join him. Their first stop is the Living Desert Zoo and Gardens, where Poppy really wants to feed giraffes. And I was immediately like, oh my God, girl, same. That is my favorite thing to do at the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo. Quick pause. Have you ever been there?
No, I haven't. I want to. I have fed giraffes
Okay.
before at a different zoo, but
Yeah.
pretty
Well,
fun.
yeah, that one's close. We should go to that one. They go to a bird exhibit and then they pet some goats. And Alex jokes about reading the sign wrong and being bummed that it's not ghosts that they're petting. And then Poppy brings up their New Orleans cemetery tour, which he responds with like a So kind of like back to what you were saying about San Francisco. Like
Mhm.
I internally I was like, does he have amnesia? Like it's brought up a few times that he just uh like in the present when we're in the present chapters and Poppy will bring up stuff about
Yeah,
their past trips and he's just like, I don't really seem to remember that too well. And I'm just like, what is going on? This is so bizarre. We'll
right.
find out. But
She's like Yeah, she's like, "I want every moment to matter as much to him as it has to me, but if the old ones don't, then maybe at least this trip can. I'm determined that it will." So, like, that's her goal for this trip too. It's like, "Let's be normal. Have a good
Mhm.
trip like we always have. Have fun."
Uh-huh.
And it's things are
Mhm.
just not going well.
Yeah. Alex doesn't feel very well. I don't think it's ever said, but I think he gets heat stroke a little bit in this book.
Mhm.
So, and he has to sit down. Poppy gets him a sandwich, but this little break made them miss the giraffe feeding. Like it's all over by the time they kind of get up and start to move
Yeah.
around again. So they decide to find somewhere with air conditioning for the rest of the day. 6 summers ago, Alex gets the all clear from Sarah to go on the Vale trip, and Poppy doesn't want to ask how or why she agreed to it, but there's definitely some tiptoeing around certain topics between them now that Sarah is in the picture. They do some very Vale things, and I loved the subtle commentary about needing to be prepared for all seasons for one day in Colorado, especially up in the
Yeah.
mountains. She's like, we went hiking and I started with my jacket on and then I took it off because I got hot and then we got higher up and I need to put my jacket back on. I'm like, yes,
Right,
yes,
and
that
then
is
at
exactly
night, you were freezing cold.
shorts and a tank top during the day and pants and a sweater at night.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. They end up dancing one night, and Poppy knows by the look in Alex's eyes that something has changed. They're both feeling some things. Poppy doesn't really want to feel them, though. She doesn't want to ruin their friendship. And he's with Sarah. Like they're on the trip, and he is in a relationship with Sarah at this
Mhm.
time. Alex will not call Sarah in front of Poppy on this trip, and he kind of uses this lame like, I don't want you to make fun of my phone voice while I'm talking to my girlfriend. Dumb
Mhm.
like excuse. I just think that Sarah was like, "Can you just call me without Poppy around?" Like, that's how I imagined that little, like,
Right,
"I just
right.
wanna
Or
talk to
if
you."
Poppy is around, she would be not happy to hear her in the background or whatever. Because
Yes.
earlier in those chapters, anytime when he calls to, like, ask about the trip or, they're talking about it,
Mhm.
he calls her from the car
Right.
always. So he's, like, calling Poppy secretly
Mhm.
too,
Ugh, which
anytime they talk. Yeah, that doesn't
yeah.
feel good
Yeah.
as the other the other woman.
Yes. Poppy remembers that one of the hippies they met when they went to Vancouver years ago was getting ready to move to Colorado to become a rafting guide in Vail. So Poppy reaches out to Buck. She still has his phone number to see if he can give her that other woman's contact info. Buck kind of laughs and he's like, "Oh my god, Poppy, what's up,
Yeah.
girl?" Like he's still the same old guy. He's kind of like also like glad there was no hard feelings for me kicking you out because you didn't want to have sex. So thanks for that.
Yeah.
So Buck gives Poppy Lita is her name, her contact info, and Poppy sets up a rafting trip for the next day with her. Lita is super friendly and no longer part of the druggy crowd, but she regales them with all of her wild stories from her youth. And they pick the beginner route for this rafting trip. So Poppy's like, yeah, it was basically like us sitting on a rubber raft in life vests and just lounging. Like
Mhm.
it was almost like a lazy
Yeah.
river situation that they were in. So it was just a really kind of relaxed and laid back. It was pretty fun. But Leah comments on just how small the world actually is and how wild it is that they were in the same place at the same time years ago, and here they are reconnected again. Poppy reveals that that's part of why she loves to travel. She feels less lonely and more connected with people when she travels. Alex doesn't say anything right then, but when they're next alone together, he tells her that it makes him sad thinking about her being lonely. Poppy reflects that she's not really lonely. She's really close with her brothers and her parents, and Rachel has started to become a really good friend to her. And she also is thinking about how Alex doesn't make her feel lonely either. He's been snail mailing her drafts of his short stories for her to read, and then she keeps them all in that special Alex shoebox, and it makes her feel close to him
Mhm.
even though they haven't been speaking as much recently. Alex tells her he's sorry if he hasn't been there as much for her, but Poppy responds with Alex, I've never really felt alone since I met you. I don't think I'll ever feel truly alone in this world again as long as you're in it. Which, oh my God, stop it. Like you're saying the
I
cutest freaking
know.
things to each other. Ugh.
And
Just,
then his
God.
response.
I know. He goes on to say that he didn't I know. He's like it's kind of the opposite. He's like, "I didn't realize that I was lonely until I met you." He had done so much for his family after his mom had died, and he felt like he lost himself a bit. He reflects back on their first drive back to Linfield together after their freshman year of college and how he couldn't answer any of the questions that she asked him about himself because he truly didn't even know what he liked and didn't like. He said, "No one
Mhm.
really knew me before you, Poppy. And even if things change between us, you'll never be alone. Okay? I'll always love you."
That's, like,
Kirsten, I
so intense
cannot.
and serious, like,
And they're like
I feel
25 or
I
26. Like, this is such a serious conversation between two friends. Oh my God, it
so
just kills
serious.
me.
Like, I
Yeah.
feel like I haven't had, like, an intense conversation like that with anyone ever, like, even my husband.
Nope.
It's like
No, we're also 2 very unserious people, so there's a reason we
yeah.
haven't ever had that type of conversation. Oh
Oh,
my
man.
gosh. Poppy gets understandably emotional and tells him that she loves him too, but she's not fully honest with him or herself. There aren't words vast or specific enough to capture the ecstasy and ache and love and fear I feel just looking at him now. Girl, you are head over heels in love. Oh my
The
God.
master. It's like the master of, like, taking all of those, like, huge emotions and being like, "I'm just gonna shove them down,
Boom.
and I'm not gonna think about that."
I'm going to close the door on those and pretend they're not even there. Yeah.
Yeah.
God. Poppy knows now for sure that her feelings for Alex are straying dangerously away from platonic. Their second to last day of the trip, they go for a hike, and Poppy twists her ankle. It's not broken, but it's going to make the rest of the hike pretty difficult. Poppy is super upset and starts like catastrophizing about what the heck they're going to do, but Alex offers to give her a piggyback ride down to finish the hike. And he just tells her, "You're not allowed to call me Seabiscuit or scream faster." in my ear. So he's like trying to like lighten the mood a little bit and like calm her down a little bit by being so funny. And he carries her
Yes.
down the mountain, which I think they have to like take
I
breaks and stuff, but it still was so cute. It was
yeah.
so cute. Well, outside of what I had for quotes, did you have any additional ones from
Ooh,
this chapter? Because
see.
there was just
Yeah,
lots of
no.
like really cute ones, you know?
Yeah. I think I had just, like, the stuff that you pointed out, the
Yeah.
lonely
Okay.
stuff and just, like, them talking about their drive back the very first time, and it's like, "You
Yeah.
asked me all these questions," and it was like, "You wanted to know the answer," and she's like, "Of course I did."
Yeah.
It's like
Like, I wanna know you.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so
Yeah.
cute. Alright, so we're back to this summer. After cooling off in the zoo gift shop and drinking a lot of water, they head to the next destination, which is the Cabazon Dinosaurs, which is just 2 really large dino sculptures in the middle of the desert. They are not
Palm
impressed.
Springs has
And the
the
AC,
weirdest shit.
it's amazing. I love it, love it. They're not impressed by these, and the air conditioning in the gift shop, it just isn't great. So Poppy suggests the Morton Botanical Garden. Did we go to that one? Is that the one we went
I
to?
don't
I think it is.
know, it was so little. Do you think that was the same one?
I don't It was a botanical garden. I mean, it was run out of somebody's house,
Yeah.
but I can't
Yeah.
see, it made me
I
wanna,
would
like,
have
look it up. Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I was imagining that this one was, like, a real one that was, like,
A real
giant,
one.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe not.
Yeah. They drive to the botanical garden and find out that it closes at 1 p.m. in the summertime. So, ugh, drat, what are we gonna do? So
Mhm.
Poppy is like trying to salvage the day, and she says that she's going to drive because Alex kind of drives them everywhere, usually. But she pulls up a route to explore the mid century modern architecture of Palm Springs. Kirsten, I am
Yeah.
missing Palm Springs right now. I'm like,
I
I
know, it
want
was so fun. Yeah.
and
I know,
everyone
it
probably
really is
thought,
like your I was like in
my
the
dream.
'60s, your
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
dream.
Yes, it was. Oh my gosh. And Felicia's like, Cammy, I think we should do this. And I'm like, oh my God, I love that idea. And all of you
Yeah.
guys are like, girl, you're
Well,
weird.
first. But it was fun driving around, looking at all that stuff. It's like you're in a different time.
Mhm. It's so cool. Alex is not super impressed with anything that they pass, and after 2 hours of driving around, he's like, "Oh my god, can we just head
Yeah.
back already?" And Poppy's like, "But you loved the architecture, like, when we were in New Orleans, and you loved looking at all the unique houses there." She's like, "You pointed out a window to me while we were there, like, hey, look at that
Yeah.
window. Isn't that window cool?" And he just kind of waves her off, and he's like, "Listen, I'm getting car sick, and it's hot, and I'm tired, and I just wanna go back to the apartment." On the way back, though, they get a flat tire, so just, cherry on top of a shit sundae for them for their day. Oh my god.
Seriously.
Horrible. And even
Uh,
better, there's no spare. This car that they're borrowing
mm,
from, that woman, there's no spare tire. They both are pretty agitated and they're just kind of curt with each other back and forth, but they end up calling a tow truck and they take an Uber back to the apartment. Alex announces that he's going to the pool, even if he has to jump the fence to get into it. And Poppy agrees with him. She's like, fuck this. We need to get
yeah.
going. All right. 5 summers ago. Their trip this year is to Sanibel Island. This is the trip that happened in the prologue that we learned about.
Mhm.
And Poppy is lying awake on their last night, reminiscing about their trip. Alex was dumped by Sarah not too long before this trip, where she basically told him that the reason that Sarah wanted to break up with him was because he's boring. And I'm like, yeah, Poppy, I can totally see why we don't like Sarah all that much. Like,
Yeah.
it was so sad. Poppy is thinking about the selfie that they took in the car and how much fun and laughter they have together, and she feels herself hurtling towards something inevitable. This is her first moment of thinking, I am in love with Alex. It's
Mhm.
terrifying and maybe not even true, but the thought just won't go away. Mm,
I know.
yeah,
Yeah, I highlighted that part too. She's like, "The thought is terrifying, probably not even true." Yes, it is. A
it is.
dangerous idea to entertain. I release my hold on it, watch it slip away, but there are points in the center of my palms that burn, scorched, proof I once held it there. I was like, "Ah!"
You love him.
Uh,
You do. You really
I
do.
know.
Mhm.
Okay, so now it's this summer again. Poppy and Alex get back to the apartment, which, and I quote, has become the seventh ring of hell. They get changed and go down to the pool. The gate is
Mhm.
locked, and that's when they notice the pool has been drained. What the hell? So then they hear voices, and it's the couple that they shared a cab with from LAX. The wife is super chipper and is just like, "What are the chances? We didn't know you were staying here too. Oh my God." But Alex and Poppy are both just like depressed from the day and the drained pool. It's just like one more drop in the bucket. And the fact that their room is oppressively hot. So they go back. The room's now 90 degrees. Like, how is it getting hotter?
Ugh.
Yeah, Nikolai is the landlord guy, and he's ignoring Poppy's calls, and she starts freaking out and hacking at the plastic sheeting on the balcony with scissors. She's like, "I can't take it anymore." It doesn't make a difference, though, because it's just as hot outside. And then Alex says he thinks they should check into a hotel and just, like, give up. Poppy starts ranting about how this isn't how things were supposed to go. They were supposed to be keeping things cheap and roll with the punches. Do
Oh,
you have anything to
there's
add?
I just a really funny quote at this one part because I didn't want to forget it. But because Poppy's like, Alex, hotels cost money. And he's like, you know
Oh,
what
yeah.
costs money? Hospitals. We're going to die if we stay in this
Yeah.
apartment. That's so
Yes.
funny.
And they have to buy that new tire too. So, yeah, 100%. Poppy is being a broken record and says again, like, this isn't how it's supposed to go. And she wants it to be how it used to be. But Alex is mad now. And he says it's never going to be like that. They can't go back to that. Things are different and they can't change that. So Poppy needs to stop. Stop trying to force this friendship back to what it used to be. It's not going to happen. Stop trying to make fetch happen. They're different now. Poppy has to stop pretending they're not. So Poppy's crying. It's just like it's an awful fight.
Mhm.
Then it starts raining. So they run out to the balcony and destroy the rest of the plastic sheeting so they can stand in the rain, which also, I mean, this happens in the movie too, like the rain and the oppressive heat and stuff. But I'm
Mm,
like, also, Palm Springs is a desert. I feel like it's a bigger deal that it's raining in Palm
right.
Springs than in Barcelona. But
And it was probably
anyway,
like a 30-second rain shower. Like, if
right,
it
right, right,
did
right.
rain at all, yeah, you had to run out there
Yeah, like torrential
immediately.
downpour and then yep. So Poppy looks over at Alex as they're standing in the rain and he apologizes and tries to explain, but Poppy says she knows what he meant and she's like, "You're right, we can't go back." Then Alex asks if Poppy would really want to, and she starts to say, she's like, "I just want," and then she thinks to herself, "You." Like, "I just want you." And she's trying to get herself to say it out loud, but instead she says, "I don't want to lose you again." So they hug and it immediately turns not entirely platonic because every time they hug,
Mhm.
it's like that. But Poppy thinks even after a full day of sweating, Alex smells so good and feels so good against her. I have to talk about the sex part this time.
Girl, I was getting ready to be like, "It's not me."
Okay, well, anyway, here it comes. Poppy starts touching him like more. They just start, expanding out from their hug. Her hands go up into his hair. He draws back so he can look her in the face. And Alex says, "You won't lose me as long as you want me. I'm here." And then Poppy tries to hold it in, but the truth slips out and she tells Alex that she always wants him. Always. The tension, their faces and their mouths are just getting like closer and closer together. They haven't touched yet, but they're getting so close. And they're still kind of like plausible deniability at this point because they haven't touched lips yet. They can still be like,
Mm.
"Oh, this moment's over." But as he gets closer, Poppy forgets every reason she was trying to put this off, and she thinks this wasn't supposed to happen. But then that thought is changed to this had to happen. This has to happen. This
This
is
is
happening. Yeah, it is. It's happening.
Yeah, yeah, I was like, "Oh my gosh, we're finally, like, getting some,
It's
you
happening. It's
know."
happening.
It's happening, it's happening, it's happening,
Except
oh my god.
we go to 4 summers ago.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah. So Poppy is psyched. She's been working for R&R magazine for 6 months at this point, and she's already been able to travel a ton to a bunch of different places. And she's kind of downplayed how awesome these trips are to Alex when she pitched combining their summer trip with a work trip because she wants to surprise him with like the luxury that they're going to get to have now. And so they have 4 days in Sweden and then 4 days in Norway planned. Poppy has a robust itinerary because that rafting girl, her wife is like from Norway or something. And so Poppy made a connection with her and she's just like been sending her recommendations. But Poppy's most excited about a hotel made entirely of ice in Sweden that they're going to stay at. It's called Ice Hotel, which, like, what a great name.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. And Poppy's like, it's the kind of place that Alex and her could never have afforded on their own. And she just, like, she can't wait. She's so excited. Another big difference with this trip, it's going to be that there's a photographer who will be traveling with them because of like the magazine. And Poppy's not worried about though, because everyone she's worked with has been like pleasant and independent like she is. And the photographer's name is Trey. She's heard he's great. So she's not worried. Poppy knows that Alex likes to be in control, so she's assuming that he's probably like freaking out that she's planning everything and keeping it all a secret. But he doesn't complain. Alex just sends her pictures of his little black cat, Flannery O'Connor, and he tells Poppy that the cat reminds him of her. And Poppy's like, "Oh, is it because she has claws or that she's like evil or something?" And he goes, "No, it's because the cat's a tiny fighter." And butterflies for Poppy. And then, yeah. I think I might have had a quote from that. Never mind. I don't know. But there's one point where he's like, "I love her." And he's talking about the cat. Maybe it's a different chapter, but Poppy's
Mhm.
like, "I know he's talking about the cat, but he
Oh,
could be talking about
I've
me."
I've
I think I'm
I've
like
got
getting
it
ahead of
pulled up.
myself, but
No,
yeah.
I've got it pulled up here. So he says he sends me a picture of Flannery O'Connor sitting in his already packed suitcase. Tiny fighter, I write. I love her, he says. And I know he's talking about the cat, obviously, but even that makes that fluttery, warm feeling come alive under my skin. So she's,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Then in the week before they're set to leave, Poppy gets horribly sick, but she doesn't have a fever or strep throat. And so she just keeps powering through at work and just trying to prepare everything. But then 3 days before they leave, Poppy has a dream that Alex tells her he got back together with Sarah and he can't take the trip anymore. So Poppy wakes up. She's feeling like sick to her stomach. She tries to forget about the dream, but she can't take it anymore. So later that day, when Alex sends Poppy a picture of Flannery, she texts back asking, she's like, "Do you ever miss Sarah?" And he responds with like, "Not really." And then Poppy begs him, "Please don't cancel our trip," because the dream's just like messing with her so much. He's like, "Why would I do that?" And Poppy's like, "I don't know, just I keep getting nervous, like you're going to." And then he tells her the summer trip is the highlight of his year. And she says it's hers too. And he's like, "Even now that you get to travel all the time, you're not sick of it." And she's like, "I can never get sick of it. Don't cancel." So that's when he sends her the picture of Flannery O'Connor in the
Yes,
suitcase.
yes,
And they have that little
yes.
love exchange. Yay. Um, then Poppy's like, "I can't wait to see you." And after that whole like, I love her cat moment, she's like, "This feels like a bold, like scary thing to say." But then he responds with, "I know, it's all I can think about." I'm like, so anyway, okay, it's the next day. Poppy wakes up. So it's like 2 days before the trip. She has a horrible fever now. Her throat hurts, her head's pounding, chest heavy, like legs ache. She has chills. She's dying. And she calls in sick to work, hoping she can like sleep it off before her flight the next afternoon. But by that night, she knows like there's no way she can go on this trip. So she gets everything figured out with work so that Alex can still go and maybe she can meet him for the second half or something. But she's just really sad and crying because she knows that if she doesn't make it on this trip, she's probably not going to see Alex for a whole year. Poppy also really misses her mom because she's sick and she just wants to be home and like have all of her comforting things around her. So Poppy's so sick and it's like the day of the trip. She can't get out of bed. She's having like horrible, fitful, sick sleep where you're like kind of dreaming and you just keep waking up and like nothing makes sense. And she thinks she's dreaming, but it turns out that Alex is at her door, pounding on the door and like trying to get in. So he's come to be with her. He's brought her medicine and soup and tea and all this stuff, and he helps her get changed and get in the shower, and he remakes her bed for her and just, like, gets her all cozy and clean and warm, and Poppy's like, "Why are you so nice?" And he just gives her a look and kisses her forehead. I'm like, "Oh my god." I'm like, "Because he loves you. That's why he's so nice."
Duh. Hello. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah, I'm like, "Get with the program, Poppy." Then in the morning, he helps her go to the doctor. They find out she has pneumonia. So now I'm like, "Everybody's sick right now too." And I'm like, "Do you have pneumonia? Do you think you have pneumonia? You probably do. You probably have pneumonia." Um,
Yeah.
she luckily doesn't have to stay in the hospital, but she gets, like, antibiotics and stuff, and so he just takes care of her this whole week, and Poppy's so sad he's missing the trip, and she's like, "I really wanted to take you to the ice hotel," but Alex tells her that he doesn't care about that, he only cares about getting to spend time with Poppy, and so they cuddle, like, hardcore in bed, and, they can, like, they're so close together, they can, like, feel each other's heartbeats, like, their hearts are both racing, he's got his hand on her thigh, she has her leg, like, wrapped over his hip, her mouth's, like, against his neck, she's not, like, kissing it, but it's just, like, right there, and, she can feel that he wants her. LOL.
You know what that means? I mean, what do you she's using him as a human pillow right now, and
Yeah,
then
yeah, and they
she
are
found something.
squished
Yep.
together. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, she
Yep.
found something, and then they fall asleep, and then when, Poppy wakes up, they're, like, a safe distance apart. So, Alex tells Poppy that she was asking for her mom, and she's like, "Yeah, whenever I'm sick, I miss her," and Alex says sometimes he misses his mom too. Dead
Oh
moms
my
are
god,
always
I
so
know.
sad.
I know.
Um
I hate mm.
And then Poppy asks Alex to tell her about his mom, and so he does. He says he was only 6 when she died. She used to sing to her kids when she tucked them in at night, and Alex thought she had a beautiful voice. Like, he would tell people that she was a singer and that she should be famous, and he reflects on how his dad couldn't talk about her without breaking down or he's kinda still can't. And so growing up, Alex and his brothers didn't talk about her either. So so when he was probably, like, 14 or 15, he went to Grandma Betty's house to help her with some chores, and she was watching old home movies of Alex's mom, and so he got to see, like, home video of her, and the video he watched was her holding Alex as a baby and singing, but she actually has a horrible singing voice, and so he and Betty were just, like, cracking up about that, and enjoying the moment. Alex is like, "I guess I think about that a lot," and I'm just like, ugh. So Alex continues to reflect about how, like, the biggest part his mom has played in his life is just how wrecked his dad was from losing her and how, like, scared he was to raise all of his kids on his own. So Alex thinks of her more as a cautionary tale than a person, but when he thinks about that video of her singing, he can understand, like, why his dad loved her so much, and that makes him feel better to think about her, like, as a person. And then Poppy says, "She must have been pretty amazing to make a person like you." Meow. Are you crying right now?
No, but I feel like I could be tearing up. So
Yeah, but I was like, "This part is so sad."
it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
So it's been a few more days. Poppy's starting to feel better. She's technically, like, well enough to leave the country, but it's too late for that, and they're not gonna go on the trip anymore. They just keep hanging out at her house. They don't touch anymore either, except occasional just, like, bumping into each other. But at night when they're laying in bed, Poppy stays awake listening to Alex breathe, feeling like there are 2 magnets trying desperately to draw together. Poppy just feels like them getting together is not a good idea. And when they cuddled earlier, it was just because she was sick, and Alex and her are not meant for each other. There's just more to lose if they take this friendship to a place that it doesn't belong. And I'm like, ugh, friends to lovers trope. I guess I get it. It's, like, very complicated.
It is it's one of my least favorite tropes in general. I
Yeah.
really liked
Right.
this book. I don't like
Yeah.
that usually in books, so,
Right, right,
yeah.
right. It's just not my fave, but I mean, I guess, like, when I read it though, most of the time I'm like, "Oh, this isn't like, it's not as
Yeah.
bad as I think it's gonna be,"
I know, it's always
but
funny because 'cause I'm like, "I don't like that," and then when I read a book like this, I'm like, "Oh, I love that.
yeah,
Oh,
I'm
they're
like,
so
"Oh,"
cute," and I was like,
and I'm like,
"Why do I hate this?"
yeah, I know. Just I can, like, understand the fear of, like, not wanting to ruin your friendship. So, but anyway, them being incompatible, Alex wants a stable life with like marriage and kids and to have what he lost when he was so young. And Poppy wants to be, but also this is just Poppy thinking this, right? I don't know if Alex has said this explicitly to her. I mean, they know each other pretty well, but Poppy wants to be untethered and have spontaneous trips and new relationships. And she thinks the only way they can maintain their friendship is through what they have now. And she needs to like squash the what if. So Poppy's trying to put a little bit of distance between them right now. So, like, when they say goodbye and stuff, it's pretty, like, stilted.
Right. We're
Yeah.
firmly in the friend zone still. We're just friends. Like, thank you for
Mhm.
coming and taking care of me, but really
Yeah.
we're still just friends. So,
Right, right, right.
yeah.
Alright, so now we're back in the present this summer.
Yeah.
Poppy and Alex are making out. It's really tentative and soft at first, but then it starts to get more intense. Alex keeps asking every time they do, like, a next step, he's like, "Is this okay? Is this okay?" Which we love.
You do. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um, yeah. Consent.
Sorry.
Yes.
I know it's like
Yeah.
consent king, take it all. Yes, love
Yeah.
it. Love it.
Yeah. Poppy's thinking that this is the best kiss she's ever had in her entire life, and she didn't know kissing could be this awesome. She's just fully immersed in the experience. And then Alex presses her up against the wall. Oh,
Oh,
no.
yeah. Ooh, 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 ooh,
Oh,
ooh.
yeah, we love that. Alex
Mhm.
starts, touching her underneath her shirt, her bathing suit. He's like, "Is this okay? Is this okay?" "Yeah, it's okay." And he starts confessing some things. He says, "I think about you all the time. I think about this." I'm like, "Oh, Poppy admits that she does too." They take off their clothes. Poppy hesitates for like a second, but it's just because she wants to look at Alex and appreciate how hot he is. And Alex is like, "You could have always looked, you know?" And he's like, I looked. I looked at you.
Yeah.
So things continue to get hot and heavy. Oh, and then Poppy's like, "I don't have any birth control." And Alex tells her he got a vasectomy. I was like, and Poppy's
Wild.
Ye
Wild.
yeah,
I
yeah,
was like,
yeah.
"Why? I know, I get it." But at the same time, I was like, "Huh? What?
But,
You're
yeah,
30?"
Poppy's, like, shocked
Yeah.
by this, but Alex is like, "Well, it's reversible." So I was like, "And that's an excellent point." I do love a man taking the initiative of, like, "Here's a very reliable form of birth control that
Mhm.
I took responsibility for that
Mhm.
I can get
Love that.
fixed." So
Mhm.
and he
Yeah.
also apparently he said he, like, took other precautions, so I'm assuming he, like, froze his sperm or something.
That was exactly what I thought. He's like, "Yeah, so, just in case if it doesn't work, I've got some sperm hanging out ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah,
I can
yeah,
still be a
yeah.
biological dad. No worries. No worries."
Yeah, but he just doesn't wanna get somebody pregnant on accident.
Mhm.
And Poppy, like, loves this, though. She's like, "He's so thoughtful and courteous and, quote, above and beyond caution and consideration. You're a prince, Alex Nilsson." Um, yeah, so now that we know that Alex has a vasectomy and they're not sleeping with anyone else, either of them, they don't use a condom. Woo! Things continue to progress. Alex goes down on Poppy, which love that for them? Question
Mhm.
mark. Like, but rain is not rinsing you off, and they have been hot and sweaty in the Palm Springs ecosystem all day. Personally, don't love that.
Nope. 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 Oh gosh. I
Huh.
just yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, right.
if everybody's cool with it, that's cool, but I would feel extremely uncomfortable.
And I don't think that she says this here, but Poppy does mention, like, a couple times how she hates showering. Like, she
Yes!
hates doing it, and so there's, like, a couple
Days
times
later, yeah.
when Alex like, even today, like, Alex goes and takes a shower so they can go, and she did not. Or it's not,
Right.
like, explicitly said so that it
Yeah,
like, when
yeah,
it came
yeah.
back to that later, I was like, "Hmm, did
Yeah,
mm,
like, what? Yeah, yeah, no. Yeah, Rain's not getting that. Okay.
nope."
So, Poppy tells Alex to stop making her wait for him, and he says, "Stop being impatient. I've waited 12 years. I want this to last." And I was like,
Mhm.
So, okay, so now whatever, they are doing it, and Poppy's like, "How are you so good at this?" And Alex says, "'Cause I know you and I remember what you sound like when you like something." My God. Oh my god. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yep, yep, yep. So anyway, and then
Sorry, just okay.
okay, I'm not that flustered by this. I just lost my place. So I just anyway, so they're just both like loving it. And then Poppy says, "I love you." It like slips out. So she kind of has a mini freak out moment, but then Alex says it back. And yeah, they just keep doing it. It's this overall, like, sexy it's pretty mild, like, in
Right.
the grand scheme of things, but they just keep confessing their love. Poppy calls him the hottest man alive, and he says, "And you love me." She agrees, "I love you." He says, "I love you so much, Poppy." And yeah, so
It
cute.
was it it was like an emotional, like, intense scene
Yeah,
versus,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
really a yeah, yeah.
Right. Leaves a lot to the imagination, which every once in a while is okay.
Yeah, and I think that I just wanted to bring up, like, as they start kissing at the very beginning of this, they talk about, like, their
Mhm.
noses, like, rubbing against each other before they're, like,
Oh,
slowly coming
yeah.
close, and I don't know why, but that visual is just a nice one, I think. I don't know, it's like
Mhm.
a intimate but intense thing again, and it's I liked that, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So now they are post-coital on the balcony. They have cute little convo. Poppy reminds Alex from a long time ago. He said this was they actually had this conversation in Nashville when she like confesses to him that she's still a virgin or they find that out. But he said outdoor sex wasn't all that it was cracked up to be. And Alex is like, well, it's because it wasn't with you.
Yeah.
And they just start like gushing. And she's like, "It's never been like that for me before," and he agrees, and then Alex says he wants to do it again, and Poppy goes, "Yeah, we should." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Right now?" But then Alex is like, "We really can't stay here," and Poppy's like, "Do you think this would have happened if Nikolai's AC hadn't gone out?" And Alex is like, "Yeah, this definitely would have happened eventually. It might just not have happened on this balcony." And Poppy's glad it happened though, so
Mhm.
then Nikolai starts pounding on the door of the apartment. And he's gonna let himself in, and so Poppy and Alex scramble to get dressed, and Poppy, like, intercepts Nikolai at the door so that he won't see Alex naked, and Nikolai's like, "Wow, I'm really sorry. The air conditioning is out." They're like, "Thank you. Tell us something we don't know."
What?
And he's like, "I thought you guys were kind of just being, like, annoying and exaggerating, but yeah, the whole wing of this apartment complex is out. So sorry about that. I'm gonna refund you the whole trip." And so now that they have those funds back, they can go stay at a different place. Nikolai also gives them a folded up piece of paper that was outside, and it's a note from that couple that they saw outside the pool and they met on the shuttle. It's a Groupon for like a really fancy spa and like a note in there too. But also, like, as I'm saying this right now, like, I don't think they never go to the spa, right?
Nope.
They
No,
just
I was
they're
just
just like, "Wow."
that was so nice of them, but yeah, they don't use it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I was like, "Wait a minute." But they do have a funny, like, conversation about how they're like, "I'm pretty sure they don't know our names, and we just learned their names when they wrote it on the letter." And they're like, "It'd be really funny if we became their friends and we were able to just keep it up where they never learn our names, but we vacation with them, like, every year or something."
Yeah, they like they want
Um,
it to be like one of their long running jokes from their
yeah,
trips
yeah.
that they met this couple and they never tell them their names the whole time, but they become best friends with them. Yeah.
Yeah. So they go find another hotel. This one is $70 a night, and Poppy thinks it looks like a kid's magic marker drawing, but in a good way, because it's very colorful, like inside and outside. But the most important thing, it's cold. The air conditioning works. Thank God. So Alex takes a shower. Poppy wants to get in with him, but she knows that Alex doesn't like showering with people because he just wants to like get clean and not be distracted. Which I mean, I can get on board with that sometimes.
Mhm.
Then it's Poppy's turn to get in the shower, and this is where she talks about all the reasons she doesn't enjoy showering, like having to brush out her hair and
There
getting
we
in
yeah.
and out of the shower, like getting dry. So she showers maybe like 3 times a week. But this shower is and I was also like, it is one of those things too where I'm like, I don't wanna get in the shower. And then I'm in the shower and I'm like, "Oh, getting out? I can't get
I
out. It's
know.
cold out there."
It's the worst. Oh my god. It's like
Yeah.
you have to mentally like on hair wash day, you're like, "Oh my god, I gotta mentally
Yeah,
prepare
yeah,
for
yeah.
this," and then you get in and you're
Right.
like, "Oh, this isn't so bad," and then you're like, "Oh, but I have to get out
Yeah.
after and
Right,
do all
right,
the
right. Like, now
things.
I'm a
I hate
shower
this."
person.
Yeah.
I can't go back
Yeah.
to the dry place.
No.
Yeah, but this shower is, like, so luxurious. She takes her time, she gets super clean. Also, the fact that it's, like, cold in the bathroom, but the water is hot, which that's, like, a really glorious feeling too. And she's so dirty. Dirt is, like, literally coming off of her. She's watching it go down the drain, and so I will, again, reiterate how intimate their previous sexual encounter was and how dirty they actually were.
Ugh. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. But by the time Poppy gets out, Alex is asleep on the bed and she debates curling up next to him, but decides that she doesn't want to wake up and be awkward or whatever, so she sleeps in the other bed. So now it's
Didn't
3
love that.
summers ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, "Come on." And not only that, but
Yeah,
you
she's
guys
like, "I
shared a
won't."
bed the night before. I mean, like, whatever. Anyway, sorry.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Like, you could just sleep not touching him. Yeah, totally. But she's like, "I won't make assumptions about what any of this means or foist any expectations onto Alex." I'm like, "You should probably talk, though. Make sure you talk. And you guys both just said, like, 'I wanna do it again,' and you confessed your love to each other. What do you think?" Like, it's gonna
So you just what do you mean you don't know if he'd want you to sleep next to him? I think with
Huh.
maybe he just needs to say it out loud, but I would make that assumption. I would be like, "Yes, we just did the
R
dirty
Right. I
and
mean, he
said we
he
love
kind
each
of
other."
did say it out loud. Yeah.
Yeah.
Poppy's just a weirdo. I mean, she's been acting this way for the last, what, 12 years, so.
Right, right.
Okay, so 3 summers ago, the night before they're set to go to Tuscany on their trip, Alex texts Poppy wanting to talk. Poppy's immediately worried that he's gonna cancel the trip, but that doesn't make sense because for the first time in years, they're set to have a tension-free trip, or so she thinks. 3 weeks after Poppy had pneumonia, she met Trey, the photographer, for R&R, and a month after that, Alex and Sarah got back together. Wow, what a coincidence. I
I
wonder why that happened.
I know I
I'm
underlined
like,
that. I'm like,
"Bitch."
"You just
Yeah,
skipped over this. Hello, obviously he got back together with her because 'cause you're now dating somebody else."
right. He
Duh.
just nursed you back to health, and you immediately went out and got a different boyfriend. Poppy, you asshole.
Idiot. Yes, idiot. God.
So this trip is gonna be a couples trip. It seems like now Sarah's warming to Poppy a little bit, like, she follows her back on Instagram, sometimes she'll like her stuff, and Alex and Trey have met a few times, and they've gotten along, so Poppy's in a place where she's so ecstatically happy that Alex and her have never let anything happen between the 2 of them. Once again, friends to lovers dynamic is more complicated and nuanced than I ever think about until I'm reading about it. Poppy calls Alex because she's alone, and she was feeling, like, nauseous and worried she was gonna get a migraine, so, like, she left the bar and her boyfriend's, like, still out or whatever, but Alex is in his car, so she's like, "Oh, maybe it's not as perfectly blissful as I thought if he's, like, back to only talking to me while he's in the car on the way to the gym." But he's asking if she thinks they're making a mistake going on this couples trip, and Poppy reflects on the time that all 4 of them had been together last when Poppy and Trey were in Linfield. Trey got along better with Poppy's parents than Guillermo. That's a
Guillermo.
hard name to say.
It's a really
Guillermo.
hard.
Guillermo, but she's still kinda worried that something will happen that'll scare Trey off when he's, like, with her family. But they end up staying a little bit longer because it's Mr. Nielsen's 60th birthday, and Alex and Sarah are gonna be there, so the 4 of them grab dinner before the party. Dinner was okay, it wasn't too crazy. They all sorta got along. There's some awkward parts. Alex is making faces like, we as the audience like, know obviously he's jealous, but, like, he's listening to Trey talk and he wants to be with Poppy. Come on.
Yeah.
Trey mentions that he was supposed to meet Poppy sooner on the Norway trip before she got sick. Like, "Oh, funny story." And Alex is like, "Wow, yeah, that is funny. Do you see how hard I'm laughing?"
Alex is like, "This is
Yeah,
great
and
for
so I was
me."
like,
Hmm. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep, that was a great, yeah. So then they all go to the party and things are fine. Poppy, again, it's like reflecting on all the reasons she loves Trey. Like, he's so outgoing and he likes everybody. And I don't know, she feels really secure in their relationship, blah, blah, blah. She also remarks on how Alex's brothers are all together for the first time in a long time. They have their normal, like, sibling dynamics. We meet David for the first time, who's the one that's getting married. And at some point, Grandma Betty asks Poppy to help her in the kitchen. And so Betty is like, "I like Trey a lot, bleep, bleep, blah, blah." Poppy thinks that she'd be lying if she said that Alex played no part in her saying yes to dating Trey. She was still dreaming about Alex a lot after her sickness, but Alex mentioned to her that he and Sarah had been talking a lot more and things seemed to be going okay with them. And so Poppy's like, it doesn't matter if he gets with Sarah or not. In the end, there's going to be someone he gets with, and she doesn't think she could take it. So she said yes to Trey. And like, I'm like, was he trying to make her jealous? Like, why is he talking about Sarah?
Or was it
I mean, I
another
guess he
scenario
does.
well, I was just thinking, was it another scenario where, like, Poppy brings her up again, and then he's like, she like,
Right, right. Have you
and
talked
then
to Sarah?
he's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, actually, I kind of or something like that, I don't know, ugh,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. Bleh. Um, anyway, Poppy also thinks, like, Trey is to Poppy what Sarah is to Alex, like, someone who fits, someone who makes sense. And I was like, or someone you're just distracting yourself with to avoid the feelings you have for each other. Ugh.
100%, yes.
Yeah, so then Betty, that wily old grandma, asks Poppy if she loves Trey like she loves Alex, and Poppy's like, "I don't think I'll ever love anyone the same way I love Alex." And Betty says, "I wish he knew that." It's like, diabolical. Grandma with the hard hitters.
I know.
Uh, so
Oh, and
anyway,
at
that
this
previous oh, yeah.
well, I was just gonna say at this part, like, Poppy internally thinks, "But maybe I won't love anyone the way that I love Trey also," like, but she never says it out loud, like, she's like, not gonna
Yeah,
say that,"
yeah,
like, and I
right.
was just like,
But it seems like you feel like you can survive without Trey, you don't feel
"Mhm."
like you can survive without Alex, right?
Exactly, yeah.
There you go.
Mhm.
So, anyway, that previous meeting was fine, and when they were in Ohio and she's psyching herself up for Tuscany, so Poppy's like, "I guess I can see where Alex is coming from about being worried, but, her and Sarah seem to be in a good place, like, they've had pleasant interactions, and, Trey and Alex get along, whatever. And besides, they're gonna be in Tuscany with wine and good food and whatever, everything's gonna be fine." Poppy's still, she doesn't really like Sarah still, but she can't get over that Sarah dumped Alex for being
Being
boring.
boring,
But
ugh.
yeah. So she's like, as long as Sarah realizes she made a mistake and, she's paying her penance or whatever. And Poppy then gets another wave of nausea and she's like, I really need to go to bed so I can be ready for the flight, but everything's gonna be amazing. And Alex is like, yeah, I'm sure I'm worrying for nothing. Mostly it turns out that's true. Dun dun dun. Um, but anyway, it's not too bad. But they get to Tuscany and they're staying in a villa. It has a pool and a patio, an outdoor kitchen with bougainvillea dripping all over everything. So it's like beautiful. And Sarah is like, wow, I'm never missing one of these trips ever again. And they have a bunch of fun. Like maybe it's a little stiff and awkward the first day, but by the end of the first night, like they're drinking wine and everybody's like softened and loosened up. Trey and Poppy are really touchy feely as a couple. And Sarah's like, so cute. And then that launches into how Alex isn't into PDA, which is like a little awkward. Like poor Sarah. But I guess he is like that
All
mostly with
like,
everyone.
yes.
Yeah. But Sarah also mentions like marriage in passing. She's like, I'm gonna marry somebody who doesn't even want to hold my hand, which is like shocking to Poppy. And Poppy starts reflecting a little bit more. Like she's like, I've been holding on to Alex too tightly and not letting Sarah have room. But Poppy decides to stop doing that and to just like Sarah and stop letting that get in the way. So the trip goes on. They all have fun. Um, Oh, there is a surprisingly deep conversation about The Bachelor, which I was like, interesting. This is obviously, a mirror to Alex and Poppy's relationship, but I've only watched one season of The Bachelor, which is The Golden Bachelor, which was where they were all old. I was on maternity leave and I was like, yes, I am watching this.
Love that for you.
Yeah,
So
but it
funny.
is an interesting thought, like, where basically she's saying, like, it's interesting to watch this show where you can see one person be different with all these different people, and
Mhm.
you can just, like, pick the relationship you kind of like yourself the best in or whatever, but, it's
Right,
making
the
it kind of
version of
seem
you
like
that the other
yeah,
person, like, you feel like makes you the best version of you or something like that kind of. It's like, yeah, I
yeah.
thought that was real I definitely highlighted that. That was really interesting too,
Right.
so
She's like, "You're watching them choose a life, and that's how it is in real life too. You can love someone and still know the future you'd have with them wouldn't work for you or for them, or maybe even for both of you." I'm like, Poppy, let it go. Alex is the one, okay? Please stop.
yeah.
um, yeah, so anyway, then the next night, Fee is feeling nauseous again and has a panic moment of realizing her period is a day late. So she runs out and gets pregnancy tests, and Alex finds her freaking out when he gets up before dawn to go for a run like a psycho.
Mhm. Not a whole lot
um
of Alex is still
right. So
crazy about
Al
his running.
yeah. Alex tells Poppy that he'll always be there for her no matter what happens, etc., etc. And Poppy takes the tests. They're all negative. She gets 3 because that is what you do anytime you're
Mhm.
worried about being
Yes.
pregnant is you take more than one test.
Yes.
um Poppy is crying more and feeling conflicting emotions as one does. She also feels guilty for always needing Alex. And then Alex is crying. Pregnancy is extra scary to him because his mom died from pregnancy complications. So he's just like, I don't know what I would do if anything happened to you, whatever. They comfort each other. They're just like hugging and stuff. Poppy wishes they were alone. And thinking like their world for two doesn't exist anymore. It's sad. And this all ends with Alex telling Poppy that Trey is a great guy and they just kind of pretend this didn't happen. So it's kind of like the acceptance and the pushing away of each other, like realizing they need to kind of stop doing this sort of
Mhm.
stuff.
Mhm.
Then, of course, Poppy's period starts 25 minutes later, which so real.
Mhm.
That is always how it happens.
Yes. Freaking out and then go
Uh,
through everything to find out what's going on, and then you're like, "Oh, anticlimactic."
yeah,
As
yeah.
usual. Yeah.
Yeah. But Poppy also thinks it hurts to want it all. So many things that can't coexist within the same life. And she just feels like heartbroken. Was like, meh. She just wants Alex to be happy and to have everything he's always wanted. And she needs to stop getting in the way so he can have a chance to have it all. Yes. So now we're back. This summer, Poppy wakes up. Alex has gone for a run. And she's like, I guess we're not going to talk about what happened. That needs to be fine. I was like, do not miscommunication trope me right now. I will
I
be
know.
and I was like, "What percentage are we at? 78%? Oh, no. Something
No,
bad's gonna happen."
not quite, not quite, because I think I have indicated a little bit later on, and we're at 83 for some
Okay.
more stuff, so we gotta be, like, in the
Yeah, yeah.
60s
But I
here,
was like,
maybe. Yeah, yeah.
"Something is
Getting
coming
close.
up." Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Um, Poppy does not wanna push anything on him. She's like, "In Croatia? He freaked out." I'm like, "What happened in Croatia? We're so close. We
No,
were
we're so
just 3
close.
summers ago. We're getting it."
Mhm,
And
mhm.
she's like, "We can't freak out now." Like, in Croatia, at least, it was the very end, something happened, and they were able to just go their separate ways immediately, but now they still have, like, 3 days of wedding activities they have to go to. So, she's like, "We gotta get through, gotta act normal, keep it light." She leaves a note for Alex saying she's gonna go to the pool. He shows up after his run with coffee and breakfast, and he's also gotten a new tire for the car, so they just lounge at the pool all day, they hang out, and then they go get ready for David's bachelor party. So this is the point where Alex gets in the shower, and I don't think Poppy does. "You were at the pool all day, Poppy."
I know. Ew.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And Poppy's like, "Why didn't we just stay in the hotel room and make out all day?" And I was like, "I don't know, Poppy. Maybe that's because you went to the fucking pool and
Pool.
made him meet you there. You could have just waited in the room if you
It's
wanted
your
to make
fault.
out."
It's
Yeah.
a you problem. Yeah.
Alex is out of the shower. He's like, "How much longer do you need to get ready?" Blah, blah, blah. And they finally have a conversation. Poppy's like, "Are you sure you want me to come to the bachelor party?" And he's like, "Yeah, David invited you." And she's like, "No, no, but like, do you want me to come? Because if I'm not there or like whatever, you could make it like there might be somebody you like and you want to make out with." I know, I was like, please don't. But luckily, Alex is like, "Poppy, what are you doing?" And he addresses it and they talk about it. She's like, "I just want you to know that like you have options still." So they actually have a conversation. He's like, "Do you regret last night?" She's like, "No, do you?" And she's like, "Well, you've barely looked at me all day." And he's like, "Yeah, well, because if I looked at you at the pool, I'd have a boner all day, and that would be embarrassing for people." So, and she's like, "Really?" Um, so they start kissing, and he starts taking off her clothes. And Poppy asks if Alex remembers when she was sick. And she's like, "I wanted you so badly that night." And he says he wanted her the whole week. And if she hadn't been sick, dot, dot, dot. I know. And then she's like, "In Vale, when you carried me down the mountain," and Alex says he spent so much time trying not to want Poppy, and then she's like, "How long do we have to get to the party?" And he's like, "We can be late." She goes, "How late?" He's like, "As late as it takes."
Long.
Woo!
Yep.
And
Mhm.
then fade to black. Oh, boring. Okay, so
Yep.
they get to the bachelor party. It's pretty awesome. It's a pretty awesome party. They have the whole place rented out, and Poppy and Alex are holding hands when they get there, and it's just crazy. It's a giant party. Everyone's having some fun. David comes and talks to them. He's like, "Oh my god, you're holding hands!" They take shots. Poppy and Alex talk about PDA, and Poppy's like, "I thought you didn't like holding hands." He's like, "But yeah, but you like holding hands." And Poppy's like, I just get whatever I want now." He's like, "Yeah, you get whatever you want. Is that a problem?" He's
Oh,
like,
I highlighted that too. I was like, "Yes."
yeah. And, she's like, "Well, what about what you want?" Or like, "I want you to get whatever you want." And, he's like, "I have what I want," which is Poppy. So, whatever. They keep doing party things. Actually, Poppy and David are talking by themselves, and David wants to know how Poppy and Alex, like, whatever happened between them happened. And she doesn't really know how to explain it because, like, obviously years of yearning and sexual tension and, like, all this stuff, it's connections. And then David starts fucking just going off saying how he's been worried about Alex. Alex is the only one of the brothers who's, like, not married, and maybe he's lonely, and he's, like, more of a dad to all the brothers, like, probably more than their own dad, and everybody thought he was gonna marry Sarah. And David tells Poppy that Alex had a ring and everything. He was supposed to propose. I was like, "David, No, do not be the reason the 3rd act breakup happens, for the love of
Oh,
God.
I was so mad. I'm like, "Shut up. Read the room." Like, you just saw
Uh,
them walking in holding hands and you're telling her how he
yeah.
was gonna propose
Why
to
would you
Sarah?
talk about that? Right,
What are you doing? What are
right.
you
Why wouldn't you be
doing?
like, "Poppy, I'm so glad. Obviously, he's been in love with you for forever. I'm really glad that you're
Yeah.
together now." Like,
God, David.
um,
Ew,
yeah, it's like,
David.
why would you even
Stop it,
talk? Yes, ew, David.
David.
Um, yeah. Yeah, so of course it's like making her all like freak out. And so she's remembering the Tuscany trip now and Sarah talking about them getting married, all that stuff. She's like, so Alex had wanted to marry Sarah and now Poppy knows that she kept him from being able to do that. And like that's just how she's feeling right now. She's like, if I had been pregnant and decided to keep the baby, Alex would have been there for me and giving up everything. And then Sarah would have had to deal with the reality of Poppy or like move on, whatever. So she's just like really hung up on the fact that Poppy's convinced that Alex wanted to marry Sarah, and David's like, "I'm glad he has you now." Like, "Oh my god, David, I forgot you're even there. What were you doing? Get out of here." Like, Poppy's not feeling good.
And, like, giving her whiplash, being like, "Oh, well, he wanted to marry Sarah, but I'm
Yeah.
glad he has you now. Oh, thank goodness you're
Yeah,
there
yeah,
to, like,
yeah.
help him recover from this broken heart." I'm like, "You
My
idiot."
god, yeah.
Yes.
Like, so annoying.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna let everybody know, I really tried to cut down this last 5 chapters of the book, and I couldn't do it, so you're gonna just have to deal with it with me, okay? Alright, so we
Everything
are
is vital.
still at there's too much. So, we're still at the summer, and they go back to the hotel, and Poppy is still feeling very out of whack from David's revelation and what all he told her. Alex thinks he did something wrong, and he keeps asking her what he did. When she finally blurts out like, "Were you gonna propose to Sarah?" And
Yeah.
Alex initially thinks that she's upset because he didn't tell Poppy that he was going to propose, and Poppy just says she actually didn't realize how in love with her that he was, and it makes him laugh and be like, "You loved other people. You told me yourself. You loved Guillermo. You loved Trey. You know, you had other people in your life too."
Mhm.
And he's like, "Was I supposed to just wait for you to kind of figure out that you love me too?" She tells
Mhm.
him that she feels guilty from keeping him from what he really wants. "He really wants you, Poppy. You absolute
Yeah, you
idiot."
should feel guilty. You're making
Yes, you are keeping him from what he wants. And it's you.
Yeah.
I don't know why you're making this so difficult.
Yeah.
He tells her that, of course, Sarah dumped him because of her. He starts laying out the whole timeline of him and Sarah's relationship. And he says that the time with Poppy, he feels like they're in a bubble and he doesn't even think about anyone else when they're together. And that when Sarah had dumped him before they went to Sanibel Island, he didn't think of Sarah at all until he got home. He wanted things to be better when him and Sarah had originally got back together, but he does admit he did not want Sarah to go to Tuscany with them. But he was like,
I
yeah,
have to
that
say, he was the whole time that he was in Sanibel and he was depressed, he was afraid that Poppy would think he was boring like Sarah did.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's
So
so
sad.
sad.
Okay.
But he was so on the Tuscany trip, he was really conflicted because he wanted Sarah and Poppy to get along better, but he also felt like those trips were really just for him and Poppy. And then along with that, she has that pregnancy scare on the trip, and that's why Alex got the vasectomy, is because
Mhm.
Poppy had a pregnancy scare. And he ended up realizing that the reason that he did it was for Poppy, and he knew that that wasn't fair to Sarah. So he ended things with Sarah that day. Like, he's like, "I got a vasectomy." And a couple
Mhm.
weeks later, I'm, walking down the street and I see this god awful ugly ring that I actually knew Sarah would hate. But I'm thinking, like, oh, maybe I could propose to her. And then he's like, "What am I doing? I just got a vasectomy for another woman." And I'm like, oh, maybe I
Yeah.
can, still propose. Sarah was maybe the easy choice, because they had similar wants and goals. But he says, "I don't know how to love someone as much as I love you." Get the fuck out of here, Alex. God, you're so cute. But he also admits that he's terrified of losing Poppy, and he knows that she doesn't really want the same things he does, so he's stuck in this vicious cycle of wanting her but not wanting to ruin anything. And he has concern over being able to make her truly happy. Poppy gently stops him from getting too upset over this and says, "I'm happy just because you exist. And that's as much of my happiness as you have control over," which I think is actually pretty important for Alex here to hear this from her. She's just being like,
Mhm.
"Hey, like I'm happy that you're here and that you're around, and like you're not going to always make me 100% happy, and that's okay too." Like, It's
Yeah.
okay. Poppy tells him that she loves him in the same way, and she also has the same concerns, mostly that once he does fully see all of her, he'd run for the hills. There's nothing scarier than the chance that once you really have all of me, that changes. But I want all of you, so I'm trying to be brave. So she's like, "We're both scared. I get it. Let's be scared together and like figure it out and
Yeah.
work things through." Alex says that there's nothing that will scare him away from her, and he's been in love with her for years. Poppy's
Yeah,
small
ever
request.
since he goes, "I've been trying to stop loving you since that night you went inside to make out with the pothead water taxi driver." I was like, "Alex!"
That's also why he didn't hook up with that other girl that was, like, interested in him too, because he's like, "Oh,
Mhm.
god, no." And Poppy's small request is that he only holds her hand when he actually wants to because of the PDA thing. And I
Mhm.
think he says, I think I highlighted it, but he says something along the lines of, "That day may come, but it's not gonna be any day soon," or something like that. It's so
Yeah.
cute. Okay. David and Tam's rehearsal dinner is this kind of, we cut forward a little bit here. They're at the rehearsal dinner. It's a smaller affair, and a very cute conversation happens where Alex admits that he hasn't forgotten anything about their time together or their travels. He was just trying not to embarrass himself by admitting that he remembers even the outfits that she wore on trips. I'm just going to pause right here. I could
Yeah.
almost just read this entire chapter verbatim to give you
Yeah.
all the freaking cute and swoony things that happens, but I'm really trying to rein it in and not
Yeah.
overboard you with too much stuff, but it is so cute.
It
It
was
is
so
so cute.
cute,
Yeah.
yes, and I was so glad that he was like, "I remember everything." I was like, "Yay, I
Yay.
knew it." I was like, "There's no way he could have forgotten all that stuff."
And I was like, did he also hit his head in the 2 years that they weren't friends and he's like legitimately forgot everything, or like what is going on? That's so weird.
Yeah.
Alex's dad comes up to say hello. His dad is pretty cute and awkward, and we can see where Alex gets some of his personality traits from. His dad makes a comment about how he misses his wife and wishes that she was there too, and he gets like really teary and like upset about it. And Alex kind of
Mhm.
freezes. He gets really stoic and calm, and he doesn't like do
Mhm.
anything or like say anything. And Poppy,
Yeah.
while empathetic, tells him essentially not to miss out on what's currently happening by being too stuck in the past. Alex tells her that he's wildly attracted to her wanting to help and take care of him and make sure that he takes care of himself.
Yeah, and, like, be mean to his dad.
Mhm, exactly.
Uh,
Alex's nieces and nephew arrive at the rehearsal dinner, and Alex and Poppy play with them and sit at the kids' table with them as well. Tam's sister makes a very traditional wedding toast about their special bond, the lives they shared, and how happy she is for them. And
yeah, that was sweet. It made
it
my
was
eyes
really cute.
tingle.
Yeah, mine too. Alex's dad also makes a toast and gives credit to Alex and his brothers for helping raise David. And Poppy thinks to herself, maybe things can always get better between people who want to do a good job loving each other. Maybe that's all it takes.
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
was like, "My eyes are producing moisture."
oh, what is this that keeps leaking out of my eye? Oh my God.
"Something's wrong with me."
Back at the hotel after the rehearsal dinner, Alex and Poppy have a sweet and passionate romp, but neither of them bring up what's going to happen next for them. The next day, the wedding is beautiful, but Poppy can't help but feel torn. Part of her is living in the moment and having fun and loving being with Alex and his family, while the other part of her is already dreading it being over. Like she's already missing this time
Yeah,
and it's not even
that's
over
really
yet.
hard,
It's
having
really
that
hard.
feeling.
They still don't talk about what's going to come next, and they don't do anything at the hotel, but they kinda just get back and they just hold each other all night long. They end up having to, like, rush to the airport the next morning. Neither of them set their alarms, which is strange for
This is
Alex, but
really
they
funny.
yeah. Do you have a good quote from right there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, because Alex, he doesn't even shower when they get back from the wedding because they just wanna, like, cuddle and stuff, and
Mhm.
so, because they're running late and, like, everything's going to shit, he goes, "Really regretting not showering now," Alex says as he rolls his window down, whatever, and she goes, "Showering? When I was falling asleep, I had the thought, 'I have to pee, but I'll hold it until morning,'" and she hasn't even been able to pee this whole time.
So funny. What a funny girl response, though. I mean, couldn't
Yeah.
do that these days thinking about that, but, you know,
No.
it's so funny, so funny.
Yes.
Yeah. So they kind of have to make this mad dash to the airport. They have to drop off that car that they borrowed and then get into the airport. Poppy kind of jokes that she bribes the Uber driver to go through some questionable yellow lights on their way to make sure they don't miss their flight. And Alex's flight is leaving first, so they go to his gate to say goodbye to each other. Alex asks Poppy what her boss will think of everything that she worked on while they were in Palm Springs, and Poppy finally admits that her work was not funding the trip at all, and she paid for all of it. Alex is not super happy about this. But when Poppy asks if he would have come if he knew that she was paying, he admits that he wouldn't have. She defends her decision further with saying that she wanted to see him. They needed to talk. And he's like, but we were like texting again and things were kind of getting better. And we were talking, like, why didn't you just call me? And she admits that she's been bored and uninspired at work. And her friend Rachel had pointed out that she's gotten everything she wants professionally and how that can lead to depression once you've reached your long term goals. She just wanted to be happy again. And the last time she was happy was when she was with Alex. Alex is pissed. He's like, you tricked me into going on this trip with you. And you set this up to get a break from your real life. You kissed me. You had sex with me. You came to my brother's wedding just to get a break. And nothing is coming out the way Poppy means it to, but the damage is done. And Alex gets super frustrated with her here. And he's totally validated in being upset with
Yeah.
everything.
Right. The way she is explaining it doesn't sound good. And I was like, no, I thought we were safe. I was kind of like, maybe they just added the third act breakup in the
Yep.
movie and it's not going to happen because it happens a little differently in
Mhm,
the movie.
okay.
And so it's kind of like their conversation about the proposal and
Okay, and
what
that's
they
what
kind of
kinda
move
leads to the
past.
mhm.
Yeah, it's not so much a proposal, but it's like Alex is like, so what's next? And Poppy is kind of like, well, let's just figure it out and go with the flow. So that's kind of what makes them break up.
Mhm.
And then so I was like, well, maybe it's not going to happen. We're at
Yeah.
what? We're past 80%. What could possibly go wrong? And then no.
Just this is at 83% in case you're wondering. I did yes, I
Yeah.
did. I have that down in there. See, Alex comes back and says, "I meant everything, and I know that I meant it. This wasn't just an impulse for me. I have thought about this and analyzed it from every angle for years." And he admits that he didn't reach out to her after Croatia and gave her space so that she could figure out what she really wanted. He says, "I'm not a vacation from your real life. I'm not a novelty experience. I'm someone who's been in love with you for a decade, and you should never have kissed me if you didn't know that you wanted this all the way. It is not fair." And honestly, my heart broke
Mhm.
right there on the spot. Oh my gosh, I was tearing up so bad at this.
Yeah.
I don't like conflict, and so when I read, like, breakups and stuff, it really makes me feel icky. So, even as Poppy responds with, I want this," she internally admits that while she wants Alex, she still is not sure if she wants all of the things. She tells Alex that she didn't ask him to change or do anything different for her, like, she didn't ask him to make plans to move to New York City or, like, really change anything about himself, and then he goes, "Yeah, that's the problem. You didn't ask. This was a mistake. I should have known that this was a bad idea." Ouchie, ouchie, ouchie. Like, oh my god. I just
Yeah.
like, who? But
Yeah.
then Poppy goes and says, so kind of like you said, maybe in the movie, like, I just need to figure things out. And I
Right.
literally wanted to scream at her. This felt so
Right.
selfish, and it made me look back at the whole setup for this vacation in a new light. Like, you love him and you know what he wants, and you just assumed that he'd go along with however you wanted this to play out. That was kind of the interpretation that I got. And
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
And she's constantly talking about, she knows what he wants.
Yeah. And it's so, I do feel like it was actually kind of selfish of her to like be like, well, I really just love him. And
Mhm.
so I'm gonna go for it. But then it's also like, I don't know that you're really thinking this through you
Right.
did not think it through.
Also, it's like, get over yourself.
Right.
You know Alex, like, it's gonna
Hmm.
be cool.
Yeah.
Also, when he was like, "Please don't touch me," when she tries to, like, touch
Like
him to
comfort
comfort him.
him.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
It was
I'm
so
trying to think, okay, like, he wouldn't be able to, like, make a rational decision if she was touching him. I'm like, so
oh,
sad.
so sad. Oh. Yeah, Alex basically says he needs some space and doesn't think it's a good idea for them to talk for a while, and he walks away to get on his flight. Poppy gets onto her own flight, pulls her knees up to her chest, and starts sobbing. She never thought the airport was a lonely place until then. Mm. All right, emotional roller coaster,
Yeah.
that whole part. So now we are at 2 summers ago. We're finally going to find out what happened in Croatia.
Finally.
Finally. Yeah. Alex is no longer with Sarah. Poppy isn't with Trey anymore either. Poppy and Trey's relationship just kind of fizzled out. They started fighting, and the relationship just in general kind of lost its shine. It was like they were having these fun adventures traveling all the time, but they didn't really have any sustenance to their relationship. It just was
Yeah.
pretty nothing too great. There's a different photographer that comes along with them on this trip. His name is Bernard. He's a sweet, kind of oblivious, probably lonely recent widower who is not catching the vibes that Alex and Poppy want some alone time together, even just to be
I
friends. Like
I
he's
was like,
not.
"Fucking Bernard!"
And then like Poppy and Alex talk about how bad they feel because he's just a nice guy and like he's just not really
You can't be mean to
understanding.
him.
Yes, exactly. So
Oh, man.
on the last night, the three of them get very drunk, and Alex comes to knock on Poppy's door after they had all gone to bed. So, kind of funny, they booked two rooms, and one room had two bedrooms, which was supposed to be for Alex and Poppy, and then there was like a single bedroom. And Bernard just assumed that the two guys were gonna like stay in the same room together. And Poppy's like, "No,
Ready to
it's."
bunk up, buddy?
She's like, "No, it's okay." Like, and he goes, "Yeah, isn't that interesting that they gave me two rooms?" And she's like, "They didn't give you two rooms; they gave me two rooms, so Alex and I could stay together." Oh my god, dude! So
Yeah, that was really funny.
yeah, um,
So silly.
so they Poppy kind of maybe intentionally, somewhat unintentionally gets Bernard super drunk so that he like passes out on the last night that they're there. And Alex comes and knocks on the door after they'd all gone to bed. Her breakup with Trey and then his breakup with Sarah had been somewhat recent. So they had been kind of waiting for this trip to talk in person to each other about what was going on. And so it looks like they're maybe finally going to have the chance, but they're also really drunk. And so
Mhm.
they start kind of laughing and joking about how Alex had actually tried to come by the other night, but Bernard had woke up and just started having like a full conversation with him in the middle of the night.
Like, came out of his room and
Yeah, he's like, "What are you doing?
"Where
Is
you
everything
going?"
okay? What's going on? Do you need something?" Yeah. So they're laughing about this and they end up on the floor and they're kind of like being touchy-feely and talking about how they've missed each other and Poppy ends up in Alex's lap. So all of a sudden they start like again, they're drunk, no inhibitions, and Alex kind of makes the first move and they start kissing. And Poppy thinks that it's the best kiss that she's ever had. But Alex stops them and says that they can't do this because they're drunk. Poppy interprets this that they should never have done it, not because that they were kissing and had been drinking. It's kind of awkward, and Poppy is adamant that they just forget it ever happened. Alex tries to apologize. He like is kind of like, okay, well, good night. So they don't talk about their
Mhm.
breakups like nothing happens. They just kind of giggle and then end up making out, and then it gets awkward for them after that.
Mhm.
The next morning, Alex tries to apologize at the airport and says, "I'm so sorry about last night. I know that I started it and it shouldn't have happened like that." Again, of course, Poppy does not interpret it the way that he intended and doubles down with, "It's not a big deal. We're just two friends who kissed while drunk once."
Yeah, I was like, "That's not why."
Gosh. And like in the moment, like Poppy does not
Uh,
realize it, but it guts Alex. And he responds with like a, all right. Like he's so resigned that
mhm.
she's just brushing the whole thing off. And it's an awkward flight and a strange silence between them starts, then and continues even after they get home. Days and weeks start to go by with very limited interaction. Poppy says, 10 years of friendship flushed down the drain just so I could know what Alex Nilsson tastes like. And I was like,
I mean, I get that. Yeah, Alex is, like, really upset about that happening, but I was also like, "They just made out? They didn't
I
even,
know.
like, go all
There
the
was,
way? I thought they already
no,
had sex." Like,
I
I
know.
was
I
like,
was
"There's
like,
no way."
I know it felt like what actually happened was anticlimactic, but
Yeah, but they have been building to this for years, you know what I mean?
yes,
Like,
yes.
this was
And
just, like,
nothing
the
had
final straw.
and like no kisses or anything had ever happened before then too. So it
Right,
was
right,
still
right.
kind of a big deal. Now we're back in the present. Poppy finally realizes that Alex wasn't sorry that anything had happened between them in Croatia, but the way that it had happened. He had been afraid it hadn't meant anything, and then I had pretended it hadn't. All this time, I thought that he had rejected me, and he thought that I'd been cavalier with him and his heart. It made me ache to think of how I hurt him, and worst of all, maybe he was right. I'm like, thank you for like recognizing that you fucked this up, honestly. Like, or just that you now was it 100% her fault that she didn't know that he's been in love with her for that long? No, but her
How do you
I
not
well,
know?
I know, but I could see her being like,
Yeah.
"Oh shit, like I've just really hurt him and I didn't mean
Mhm.
to." Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. She has really not thought any of this through, and at least not like Alex had. It's been 2 weeks since Palm Springs, and her boss, Swapna, can tell Poppy is in a funk and invites her out to coffee. Poppy is thinking about just how not okay she's been. She doesn't feel like she's a fully functioning adult and that everyone is just living their life around her and she's just stuck. She doesn't feel like she's moving forward.
Mhm.
Her and Swapna have a little heart to heart about work and about their mentor mentee relationship. And Swapna is just like, it's okay if you're not okay. And she gives her a business card for a therapist. And Poppy looks down at it, and it happens to be Rachel's mom, her friend
Yeah, that was
Rachel's
really
mom, the
funny.
therapist. Yeah. Poppy starts to think about work, and she's very worried about who she actually is without this job, without traveling, and just about how she feels like she always needs to escape. Poppy starts therapy and it's going pretty well. And she lets her therapist know, Rachel's mom, that she stopped
Mm.
calling Alex after him not answering or calling her back. So she's tried. She has tried reaching out to him and he will not answer or call back. While getting off the subway a few days later, maybe. Her
Mm.
purse gets stuck and a man helps her dislodge it. It's Jason Stanley, her first high school crush turned bully, who started the nickname Porny Poppy. That was a nickname
That's why
that
she
he gave
hated
her.
school so much. Yeah,
It
I
was like
realized I never really glossed
oh,
over
that's
that part.
that's okay. I mean, but it was the bullying in high school. He was basically the
Yeah.
perpetrator for that. Poppy isn't too sure what's going to happen with this interaction, and Jason tries to kind of like be nice to her and joke and gives her kind of like a very bad apology. And Poppy
Mhm.
says back to him, like, come on, what are you actually sorry for? Like, she wants to hear him say,
Mhm.
like, yeah, was mean. And he starts explaining how lonely and strange you feel as a teenager, and sometimes to try to keep eyes off your own weird self, you make it about other people. He was the asshole in her life, and he's sorry that it happened that way. He's actually super happy for her that she's doing well, and he had heard at their high school reunion about her travel job and how impressed a lot of people were with what she was doing and how she was like almost like semi-famous kind of thing. The main point of this
Mhm.
interaction was to show Poppy that continuously running away doesn't mean that the people you leave behind stay stagnant, that people who stay in the same place can also still change too. She thinks to herself, you can outrun yourself, but not your history, not your fears, not the parts of yourself that you're worried are wrong. So I think it's just her reflecting back and being like, I left my hometown because I didn't want to be the person I was there. But here's this person he's a nice guy now. He's married. It didn't take him leaving to become a better
Mhm.
person, basically. Jason tells Poppy that the bullying was more about him than it ever was about her. And he's just very sorry for everything. She doesn't really say like a whole lot back to him as he's apologizing. Like she just kind of gives him this blank
Mhm. She's,
look
like,
and
shocked.
yeah, and to be fair, like, if that would happen where, like, a bully came back up to you years later and apologized, I'd just be like, "Okay, well, too
Mhm.
little, too late. Like, thanks for saying that, but it doesn't change
Right.
what happened to me because of you." So, this is just like a big whole revelation for Poppy. She thought that staying in Linfield would have meant that she would always be the lonely and sad girl and that she would never get to grow, but he's kind of flipped that notion on its head for her. She goes to meet Rachel at a wine bar and she declares that she's quitting her job. So,
Woohoo!
way to go, girl. All right.
Mhm.
So, Poppy is heading back to Ohio and her parents pick her up from the airport. Poppy wants to go see Alex, but she has to wait for school to get out for the day. So, she catches up with her parents. And I just want to say it is so cute how funny Poppy's mom thinks that she is. She's like, it's like taking candy from a baby.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's
So
so cute.
easy.
It's so easy. Yeah. Poppy asks to borrow their car and she goes to her old high school because, that's where Alex works. And she goes up to the doors of the school, but she's kind of forgotten that they're just not open all the time and not anyone can just walk in there anymore.
Yeah.
And there's a security officer that is like trying to get her information. And he tells her, you're not a name on our cleared list of people that are allowed to enter the building. And she's just asking him, like, can you just go get Alex or look and see if he's there? When Sarah walks up, because Sarah also works at her old high school. This is the confrontation that was probably needed to happen, but it was painful for both of them.
Mhm.
Poppy apologizes for how careless she had been with Alex and how she definitely expected too much from him as just a friend, and it wasn't fair to him or to Sarah. It also wasn't fair that it took her so long to figure out how she was feeling before it could have hurt anyone. And Sarah says, yeah, well, if we all could have figured out how you and Alex feel about each other, it would have saved me a lot of time and pain. Sarah is not super thrilled about seeing Poppy, but she also doesn't seem to like fully hate her. Like she doesn't
Mhm.
really like her, but she's not as mean as I kind of thought she was going to be. So that's something.
Right. Feels like Sarah, like, moved on with her life
Yes.
and is, like, over
And
it.
she's yeah. I think she even says something along the lines of like, "Oh my god, somebody needs to take him off the market. Like just
Yeah.
get him
She's
out of
probably, like, the least damaged person in this
in this."
triangle.
Yeah. Which is shocking actually when all things are considered, but she tells Poppy that Alex had already left for the day. She heard that he was going away for the weekend, but if he hasn't left yet, he's probably at the teacher hangout bar Birdie's. It's just across the street, and Poppy takes the less than 2-minute drive to get there, and she knows that her whole plan and speech is out the window because they're most likely going to have an audience now. She walks in, and Alex is there, sitting at a table with some fellow teachers. There's like a super awkward hello between them, and all the other teachers like lean in to try to eavesdrop on their
Yeah, I
conversation.
100% would have done that too. I'm like, "What?
What? Mhm,
What's
what's
happening?"
happening? Poppy starts her speech off with telling Alex that she really wanted to do it at the school because of all of her bad memories that she has there. She wanted to show him that she would do anything for him. She would even go walk through the halls of where she was tormented in her childhood.
Mhm.
He tries to stop her. He's like, okay, whoa, whoa, like, stop. But she goes on about how travel hadn't been fulfilling for her anymore, and she feels bad that she had basically used him as a band aid in the past to fix things for her. She used him to go with her on these trips to help her feel that dopamine rush and to have a good time. With therapy, she has realized that while the travel and being with him was part of why she loved it, she also realized that what she really loves is meeting new people. She loved that
Mhm.
she could be a confident, happy, or even a brand new person to the one that she was while she was growing up and maybe even in her regular everyday life. She loved not being the sad, lonely girl. She felt like she could be lovable even while she was with him on their trips. She also realized that her job at R&R wasn't fulfilling anymore because she wasn't meeting real people anymore. She was meeting lots of like hotel managers and chefs and people just trying to get her into these like exclusive in hip places, and it didn't
Mhm.
really feel as authentic to her anymore about going and seeing new places. She recognizes that when her traveling started, she needed those real people to make her not feel alone. But then she has Alex. She kept him at arm's length for the fear of him rejecting her, and she loved him too much to give them a chance or to try to pursue anything with him. She loves him. She loves New York and thinks that he would too, but ultimately she would give it all up for him. She'd give up everything, even move back to Linfield. She says, "You're not a vacation and you're not the answer to my career crisis. But when I'm in a crisis or I'm sick or I'm sad, you're the only thing I want. And when I'm happy, you make me so much happier. I still have a lot to figure out, but the one thing I know is wherever you are, that's where I belong. I'll never belong anywhere I belong with you. No matter what I'm feeling, I want you next to me. You're home to me, Alex, and I think I'm that for you too." Very sweet. Very sweet. Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
it
yeah,
was
tearing
good.
up a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. I think she says, maybe not word for word, but this in the movie too, in her
Oh,
confession, so they take some good lines from the book, yeah.
that's good. There is a long silence, and when Alex responds, he tells her that she honestly terrifies him with the way that she makes him feel. But he doesn't want her to give up anything. He wishes that they fit together, but they just don't, and he can't watch everything fall apart again. Poppy tries to keep a brave face and goes to leave the bar, but before she steps out, she tells him she would have regretted never telling him, and she meant everything that she said. She still give it all up for him, and she loves him all the way. She gets outside the door and starts letting the tears fall. Now, I was legitimately crying. I just Oh, it got me so good, and, like, it just hurt. It hurt
Yeah.
really bad, yeah.
It
It hurt.
hurt.
Poppy is having, like, a physical breakdown in the parking lot, like, she can barely breathe. She's trying to get to the car and get there as fast as she can. She can hear Alex yelling for her from behind, and she does her best to try to compose herself, like, she wipes her tears away, and it's because she doesn't want him to comfort her in this moment. And she also needs to learn to not need him anymore. She
Mhm.
needs to figure out how to not need him. He kind of just starts off this conversation be like, "Yeah, I'm seeing a therapist too. And they told me that I'm afraid to be happy." He says that he would get on a plane and go back to New York with her. And he knows that he would be so happy as long as she'd have him. But that's the thing. He also fears of her getting bored of him, of meeting someone more exciting and new, and then being unhappy and staying out of obligation with him. He then gets into some more deep fears about loving her and her dying and not having had enough time with her because he wants the kids and he wants to have grandkids. And he talks about how every time he sees her, he starts thinking
Yeah.
about children's names and he's worried that going to turn into his own dad after his mom died. Like if anything happened to her, he would just lose
Mhm.
himself. She tries to reassure him that he's already lived through loss from his grandmother and he still had the will to keep going, so he could do it again, but he's just scared. They agree that being in love with each other is scary for both of them. Poppy thinks to herself, I love him more than I did yesterday, and I already know tomorrow I'll love him even more because every piece of him he gives me is another piece to fall in love with. He tells her that she was right. She is his home too. And then they kiss, and I was just freaking couldn't handle it. Oh my God. I can't believe I got through. I'm like you can't tell, but
Yeah.
I am tearing up right now. It was so over the top.
Uh,
Oh, I loved it
yeah,
though.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's good
Oh,
stuff.
it
Good stuff.
was. Mhm.
Mhm.
And then we're at the epilogue, guys. I
Yay!
know. Alex has been in New York City for 5 full months now, and they're kind of play acting tourists in the city. They're going on a bus tour, they're checking out the Empire State Buildings, they have these bedazzled "I love NYC" shirts and hats on. They're just it's kind of a throwback to their early days of doing kind of their silly touristy things.
Mhm.
They even go to the coffee shop where Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks sat at for You've Got Mail, and they're looking at the beautiful city in the springtime. Poppy didn't know that regular life could feel like this, like a vacation you never have to go home from. Of course, there's the mundane, everyday things that they do, but Poppy loves learning all the new things about Alex, too, and all of his oddities that she would have never learned without them being together. Poppy has a new job as a columnist where she'll be exploring a much smaller area of the world right in her own backyard. She'll be writing about new restaurants, bars, art galleries, and the small little pop ups happening across the city. Her column is called People You Meet in New York. She aims for this to be more of a human interest piece versus like reviews of the actual places that she's going. They have some travel plans for the summer. They're finally going to go on their Sweden and Norway trip, but no ice hotel this time. It's just not in their millennial budget. So
Yeah.
they're also going to go back to Linfield to work on Grandma Betty's house. She's reveling in the domestic bliss. And Alex asks her why she's staring at him. You're just so tall, she says. He responds back with, I love you too, Poppy Wright. And she knows that they
Yeah.
will continue to be each other's home. They will keep finding new things to love about each other. And she knows that she truly loves all of him. The end. Oh my God, it was so good.
Yay!
Yay.
Yeah,
Aw.
that was a fun book. I've never read an Emily Henry book before,
I haven't.
so
Yeah,
I really like it.
it's been a long time, but I'm like, man, I need to read some more of hers
Yeah.
for sure.
Been sleeping
Yeah.
on Emily Henry.
I wanna say that Hudson, I think, is playing a main character in a movie adaptation that is coming out that she's doing. I think it's
What?
Happy Place. Mhm.
Oh
I
my god!
I
Is
know.
it rumors or is it real?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's like one of those where it's like, I think that, when people start looking at
Or
who
is
are
he
they
a fan cast?
following? Yeah. No, I don't think it
Mm.
was a fan cast.
Oh.
I think that he at least auditioned for it. So that's where the rumors came from. I don't
Oh
know for
my
sure.
god,
I
that's
know.
exciting.
I
I hope
know.
it
So
happens.
me too, because
Another book
I,
for me to read.
I don't know, darn.
Darn
Uh,
it.
I
Yeah, well, I
know.
really liked this a lot. I'm glad we read it.
I did too. I
The mo
really loved this
Yeah,
book. Yeah.
I really liked the movie. I thought it was cute. Obviously, they
Hmm.
do change a lot of stuff. I can understand where people would be
A little.
upset with the adaptation. It just really condenses a lot, like,
Mm.
there's certain trips that are condensed into one, like Tuscany and Croatia. The
Oh.
same, like, she has her
Mhm.
pregnancy they only go to Tuscany, pregnancy scare, and they kiss. Like, I mean, that, like, makes sense for the movie. You have to, like, condense certain things or, like,
Right.
she breaks her or, hurts her ankle in New Orleans, and they
Oh,
don't go
instead of
they don't
veil.
have, like, a
Yeah.
veil thing. Yeah, yeah. So I'd seen people being like, "They should have made this like, a TV show, and
Yeah.
every episode could have been one of their trips or something, so they could have" and they really could have done a lot more to show, like, how close they were outside
Mhm.
of just the trips. I
Right.
think, in the movie,
Gotcha.
so
Gotcha.
but it was
Yeah,
cute.
like
I liked
yeah,
it.
I did too. I really liked it. I thought it was so cute.
Mhm.
I mean, I loved it. What did you okay, so what would you give it rating-wise?
I gave it 4 summer trips instead
4
of
stars.
stars.
Love that.
Because, I mean, I really enjoyed it, and I was able to read it, but it wasn't, like, all-consuming me,
Mhm. Right,
you know?
right, that's true. That's how I felt. I would
So,
definitely give it I was like a 4 broken air conditioners out of 5.
nice. Yes.
Mhm.
But, I mean, yeah, I
And
would totally tell people to read it, and I would if, I don't know, the conditions were right, I'd reread it, you know?
definitely. And I think that, it was fun and it was cute and kinda like you said, there wasn't a point where I just, like, got totally sucked in and, like, couldn't put it down, but I also really enjoyed reading it. And
Yeah.
like I've mentioned, if a book makes me cry, it's gonna get at least 4 stars. So,
Right, yeah.
yeah. So I'm definitely it's up there with that too. So
Mhm. Right, and, like, I enjoyed the angst and the yearning, and nobody annoyed me too much. Like, I
mhm.
was never actually mad at anybody, you know, like, some of it
Right.
was a little bit, you know, you're like, "Poppy, get over it," but it wasn't, like, so annoying. Nobody
Yeah,
pissed me off.
and there are some times where you're reading a book and you're just like, one of the main characters just cannot get it together, and it drives you crazy,
Mhm.
and it's like, "Okay, we're just using
Yeah,
them being an idiot as a plot to keep the wedge
yeah.
between the 2 characters." Whereas, like, in this,
Mhm.
it felt very, very believable and very I
Yeah.
don't know, it felt like it could totally be a acceptable and
Right.
relationship. You could see it happening this way kind of thing. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Emily Henry did a good job of, like, I don't know, just making me believe the character and, like,
Mhm.
understand their thought process. Because sometimes if that's missing and you're like, what
Yeah.
what is motivating this character?" Like, I don't understand.
You're
So
like,
as I'm
"Why are
saying
you doing the things you do?" And it didn't feel
yeah,
that
and
way.
it's
Yeah.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, I'll believe it. I'll believe anything you if you can sell it, I'll
Yeah,
believe
I
it.
believe it.
She was able to sell it like that.
And then
So
what about a spice scale?
yeah, spice, I was because 'cause I'm like, would I give a closed door a 1 or would I give it a 0? Because if I would give a closed door a 0, then I would probably give this a 1.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. It's like a 1 to a 1.5 maybe because it just
Yeah.
it's closed door, there's not really a whole lot of extra that happens, and it's also pretty short and sweet and to the point, like, it does not get overly detailed,
Yeah.
but I think it also fit within the vibes of the book, like, it felt
Ye
very much
right.
what you would expect from
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
author.
It
Yeah.
wasn't disappointing, you know what I
Mm-mm.
mean? Like, it wasn't like, "Oh, this was a letdown."
Right.
Yeah, it flowed good with the rest of the story, and it would've been a little crazy if Alex had just started, like, popping off or something,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, you'd be like, "Wait, what?"
I know. All of a sudden, he has, like, a filthy mouth or something, and you're like, "Well, this
Right,
doesn't
right,
match
right,
at
right, right.
all."
Yeah,
What else
yeah,
has been going on?
yeah,
Yeah.
it all aligned. There was no yeah.
Yeah. But it was really fun. I would definitely recommend this book. It was super cute, and
Yeah.
now I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna watch the movie." And it's good to know that here's the other thing, if it's a good movie or good book that they do a good job with, like, keeping the theme pretty similar, like, sometimes, like you said, like, locations, like, I don't know why they change it, but it's not the end of the
Yeah.
world. But, yeah, I mean, I see where people would be kind of like, "Oh, why did you just" it feels like some of those vacation or those trip scenes, I could see, though, how
Mhm.
they would be like, "Okay, well, if we did every single thing that is described in the book, like, that's actually gonna take up a lot of chunk of time." Like,
R
I
right,
I
right, right.
get it. Yeah, so,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
But I could also see if I was more obsessed with this book, like, if I read it and I was like, like, "This is 5
Right.
stars and I can't think of anything else," and whatever, and then you get that movie, it would be like, "Oh, they could have done so much more with
Yeah.
this." But
Gotcha, gotcha.
so, I think too,
Yeah.
the fact that you are like, this was really fun," but it's
Mhm.
not all consuming you, I'm sure that won't
It would be a good
be
little
a super letdown, yeah, and I mean,
yeah.
I forget what the guy's name is in real life, but he's hot. He's
Oh,
also a Draco Malfoy fan cast when he has blonde hair, so keep that in mind.
okay,
Oh,
okay.
it's like Tom Blythe or something. Tom
Oh, that's right. Yes, yes, yes. Because I was, like, trying
yeah.
to think of and I'm like, "Yeah, you're right, you're right." So,
Mhm, mhm. But yeah,
yeah,
super cute.
super cute,
Yay!
super fun. Yay, look at us.
Look at us. Guess what we're gonna be covering next time? We're doing the Mossverse!
Oh my gosh.
Whee!
It's
It's
gonna
gonna
be
take
the
up the
rest
rest
of
of
the
the year.
year.
It's gonna be awesome.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited
I know, I
to
can't wait.
I mean, it's a little daunting, but we can do it. We've already figured it
Oh,
out.
yeah. You
Yeah,
break it
well
down into parts,
oh, I'm
much
sorry.
more manageable.
We didn't figure it out. You figured it out, so we know what our breakdown is of
Yeah, yeah,
how we're
but
gonna do
I
it.
I
Yep.
like doing that.
Yeah. So
So
yeah, start reading. I mean, if you haven't heard, October 27th, book 6 of A Court of Thorns and
mhm.
Roses is coming out. And then book
Yeah.
7 is January 12th of next year. Holy freaking crap, I'm losing my mind. It's like 1,000 total pages between the 2 books, too. So it's going to
Yeah,
be hefty,
a lot.
hefty, hefty. Yep.
I am psyched. It's nice
Yes.
to just we'll probably throw some other books in there. We need to figure out
Mhm.
a schedule.
Yeah.
That's a combo for a different time, but
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
brainstorm. All
Mhm.
right, well, thanks for listening. If you listened to this
Yeah.
whole thing, this was a long one, so
It was. We appreciate
you're
it.
real. Love ya.
Love you guys.
Go
Bye.
take a
I
vacation.
know.
Bye-bye.
Bye.